Chapter 31:51. Luli was troubled as well. He had asked Blood Fairy, but did not get a clear answer. Blood Fairy was not confident that she could solve the formations here, at least not for the time being. Don't go on, a powerful warrior of the Shadow Race suggested. Let's sit here and build some inhibition formations to seal off the entrances. Let's find a way to solve the formations first before we leave. At this rate, we will all be in danger. Yang nodded. He agreed that this was not the way to go. He was not afraid of getting lost or the golden pecking rats, but the mysterious force field. At this rate, the warriors would become more and more violent and bloodthirsty. Even the smallest things could lead to self-harm. Gusu and the others did not dare to go on as well. It was better to stay put and think of a way to solve the inhibition formations. Working together would give them a greater chance. It was not safe to put all their hopes on Xiaofeng. Everyone agreed. Xiaofeng began to build inhibition formations. He sealed off the 3 entrances. In this way, golden pecking rats could still come in through the walls, but the number would be fewer. Xiaofeng also shared his analysis with the other experts. Although the experts here weren't very proficient in divine inscriptions and formations, they more or less had some understanding of it. If everyone worked together, they might be able to think of a way to break the formation. Luli found a corner and sat with his legs crossed. He did not join the discussion. Instead, he waited for Blood Fairy. He believed that if Blood Fairy could not solve the formation, then no one here could. He could tell that Xiaofeng was not as knowledgeable as Blood Fairy when it came to divine inscriptions. The warriors gathered together and began to brainstorm for a way to solve the formation. Luli shook his head and burst into laughter. These warriors were strong, but they were not as knowledgeable as he was when it came to divine inscriptions. How could they think of solving the formation? Lady Yuan seemed to have been paying attention to Luli. From the corner of her eye, she noticed that Luli was laughing. She was enraged. Glaring at Luli, she said, "Young Master Lu, what are you laughing at? Are you looking down on us? Do you think our suggestion is childish?" A group of powerful warriors looked over. Luli didn't know what to say. He only curled up the corner of his mouth. He didn't even smile. How could Lady Yuan see it? He said seriously, "Not at all, not at all. You are all geniuses, and I think many of your suggestions are very good. Everyone, please think of a way. Whether we can get out or not depends on everyone." Lu Li's words were polite. Yu Yang and the others didn't think much of it, but Lady Yuan and young Master Lu felt Lu Li was being sarcastic. Miss Yuan pondered for a moment before saying, "Why do I feel that young Master Lu's attainments in the field of divine inscriptions and formations are very deep? What brilliant ideas do you have? If you can break the formation, we will definitely thank you heavily. You still owe me 10 billion. Lu Li glanced over and said, "Are you going to give me 10 billion if I can solve the formation?" "Ha ha ha." Lady Yuan laughed out loud. "Why don't we make a bet? If you can break the formation, I'll give you another 10 billion. If you can't solve it, how about we write off the 10 billion? Do you dare?" "Really?" Lu Li was delighted. Though he pretended to be in a dilemma, he asked secretly, "Blood Fairy, are you confident that you can solve the divine inscriptions here?" Blood Fairy answered after a moment of silence, "I have a 50-50 chance. I don't think I can do it. I need to go on." "Okay." Lu Li was reassured. Blood Fairy would never say something she was not sure about. If she said she was 50% sure, then she must be at least 60%. That was worth the bet. Moreover, Blood Fairy hadn't been investigating for a long time. Perhaps after a while, she would have a higher chance of success. "What? Are you afraid?" Seeing that Lu Li was in a dilemma, Lady Yuan said in a hurry, "Aren't you good? Aren't you supposed to be so daring? Why are you so scared now?" All of a sudden, Lu Li did something. He took out some seal stones and said, "Words are not proof. The seal stones are proof. Lady Yuan, repeat what you said before, and I will record it down. We will give 1 seal stone to Yu Yang and Lady Su. In this way, we won't have to worry about you going back on your words. What do you think?" Lu Li's sudden move raised doubts. Was Lu Li really confident that he could solve a maze? Lu Li was born in a poor family. He did not look like a disciple of a wealthy family. Therefore, it was already impressive that Lu Li could reach the Emperor realm. It was even rarer that he could solve the haze. Luli was not from a special race. How could he solve the maze now? This divine inscription array wasn't something that could be easily comprehended. Lady Yuan was having doubts as well. 10 billion was not a small number. She didn't even have 10 billion in her savings. If she lost this time, she might lose 20 billion. Luli laughed again. Even though he didn't say anything, the sarcasm in his laughter was obvious. Lady Yuan was enraged. She shouted, "Let's make a bet. If you can solve the maze first and get us out, I will give you 10 billion celestial stones. But there must be a time limit. If you lose within a year, the 10 billion will be written off." "Sure." He nodded straightforwardly and said, just as Lady Yuan said, "Young Master Yu Yang, Lady Gu Su, and everyone else, please bear witness." Yu Yang and the others nodded. They were happy to watch a good show. If Luli could win, then they could get out. Therefore, they were looking forward to Lu Li's victory. Luli gave a seal stone to Yu Yang and another to Lady Gu Su, asking them to bear witness. With that done, Luli went back to the corner and sat with his legs crossed. It seemed that he was checking on the divine patterns. With that done, Luli went back to the corner and sat with his legs crossed. It seemed that he was checking on the divine patterns. The powerful warriors were taken aback. Could Luli really solve the formation? Soon, 3 months had passed. All the warriors were affected by the mysterious force field. They were getting more and more agitated. Qiu Feng had been trying for 3 months, but he couldn't find anything. The rest of the martial artists tried many methods, but none of them worked. Many warriors would turn to Luli every now and then, pinning their hopes on him. However, for the past couple of months, Luli had been meditating like an old monk. He had been sitting in the corner with his legs crossed, motionless, as if he was cultivating. Another month passed. Luli received an accurate answer from Blood Fairy. She could solve the maze here, but it would take her at least half a year. The divine patterns here were too profound for her to act rashly. Otherwise, the divine patterns could backfire on her. Half a year? That's enough. Luli made a deal with Lady Yuan of 1 year. If Blood Fairy could solve the maze in half a year, he would get the 10 billion celestial stones. By then, he would have 20 billion celestial stones. He could buy many treasures to assist his cultivation. Later, he could consume the blood essence of the primordial dragon. His physical body might be strengthened and his abilities would be enhanced as well. Third Master. Chapter 3152. Soon, another 3 months had passed. All the powerful warriors were getting more and more irritable. The murderous intent on them grew stronger and stronger. Many times, some of the powerful warriors even had a glint of red in their eyes. The warriors of the Grim Reaper, in particular, were all assassins. They had been soaked in blood since they were young. Therefore, the murderous intent in them was already strong. Now they could no longer suppress it. Qiu Feng had not made any progress. He had good attainments in divine glyphs. He was the most powerful among the Grim Reaper warriors his age, but he was not proficient in ancient divine glyphs. The primordial divine inscriptions were vastly different from the divine inscriptions of the current era. The primordial divine inscriptions were much more profound and profound. Hence, Qiu Feng felt that he wouldn't be able to unravel it unless he cultivated here for a few hundred years. But did he have hundreds of years? It had only been a short while, and the murderous intent on the warriors was getting out of control. They would go crazy in a year or two at most. By that time, they would kill each other, and there would only be bodies left here. Yu Yang and the other assassins of the Grim Reaper were calm. They did not panic, but the Shadow race and the Elf race were panicking. They had witnessed the death of many of their brothers and sisters. If they were to die here as well, then the younger generation of the two races would be wiped out. It would be a great loss for the two races. They were afraid of death as well. They were young and outstanding with a bright future ahead of them. In the future, they would become important figures in the Chaotic Star region. They did not want to die here. Lady Yuan and young Master Lu were not panicking. They had an artifact with them. When they used it, they would vanish into thin air and go back to their races. This was given to them by their races to protect their lives. This artifact was crafted by a forefather of their race. but they could not use it at will. There was a rule in their race that any talented disciple could only have this artifact once. Therefore, if they were to use this artifact, they would no longer have such an artifact to protect their lives. They would not use it until the very last moment. The powerful warriors were trying their best. They did not place their hopes on Qiu Feng and Lu Li. Lady Gu Su used a secret artifact to send a message to a forefather of her race. She wanted him to give her some advice on how to crack the divine glyphs here. Although they managed to contact the old ancestor, there was nothing he could do. Because even if they were to rely on the transmission of messages, the old ancestor wouldn't be able to analyze the profoundness of the divine inscriptions and wouldn't be able to guide Gu Su and the others on how to break them. How profound was the primordial divine inscription? Even if one were to personally examine it, they might not be able to see through it, let alone decipher it with just a few words. Young Master Lu used a strange divine ability to forcibly shake off the divine patterns here. He went to another cave and continuously bombarded it for more than 10 days. In the end, he returned helplessly. The divine inscriptions here were connected to the divine inscriptions of the entire ancient desolation. How could they be easily blasted apart by him? If it were that simple, this place would have been broken long ago, and the treasures would have been taken away. That's not right. Miss Yuan suddenly thought of something. She then asked, that sacred emperor who was the first to enter the ancient desolation and discovered the key to the immortal realms, how did he break through the divine inscriptions here? That same emperor must be quite young, right? Could it be that he was also proficient in divine inscriptions and formations? Which floor has he reached? That's my cousin. Gu Su explained, my cousin's strength wasn't particularly strong. He was only an early-stage sacred emperor. However, he liked to explore and often entered dangerous places with treasures. He obtained many primordial divine abilities and treasures, and he was quite strong in the aspect of divine patterns. Unfortunately, he died in the ancient Desolation Valley. Gu Su's eyes revealed a trace of sorrow. She paused for a moment before continuing. According to the image of the seal stone in his remains, he should have entered the 12th floor. However, he was severely injured the moment he entered. If it wasn't for the protection of a treasure, he wouldn't have been able to escape. That's not right. Young Master Gu Su suddenly thought of something and said, Young Master Yuan, you said you came here to find the remains of an ancestor? How old is your ancestor? Older people can't enter this place. You're mistaken. Young Master Yuan explained, this ancient Desolation Valley has existed for many years. In the past, there weren't any restrictions in this area. Any expert could enter. This place used to be the residence of a large clan. Later on, it was occupied by many large clans or old devils. That ancestor of mine died many years ago. I don't know where he died. Recently, because a palace collapsed, I found a notebook inside, and only then did I know that he died here. Oh, I see. Gu Su nodded. This was not how the ancient Desolation Valley used to be. It was only after a mysterious, powerful warrior refined it that it became like this. Gu Su sighed and said, if we cannot crack this rune formation, I am afraid that we will perish here and become the companions of your ancestor. There must be a way. Young Master Yuan murmured. She felt helpless. It had been such a long time, and there was no solution. Who else could come up with a solution? Could she count on Lu Li? Lady Yuan glanced at Lu Li with a trace of ridicule on her face. Lu Li had been sitting in the corner with his legs crossed for months. He didn't move at all. How could he crack the formation just by sitting there? This was the biggest joke in the world. This is good. Lady Yuan thought about it. Suddenly, she felt a glint of joy. She could escape from here directly with the help of the treasure, but Lu Li and the others would have to die here. In that case, her reputation would be ruined forever. Nobody would know this secret, because Yu Yang, Gu Su, and the others would all die here. Another 2 months passed by. Finally, the peace was broken today. The god of death, a warrior of the great emperor realm, couldn't sit still anymore. He asked Qiu Feng when he could crack the formation. The god of death mocked him for his incompetence. Qiu Feng had been under great pressure during this time. Because of the mysterious force field, he was extremely irritable. He began to curse at that warrior of the great emperor realm. In a fit of rage, drew his saber and attacked. Qiu Feng had a good friend. Seeing the warrior of the great emperor realm, Qiu Feng rushed over and almost killed the warrior with one move. In the end, it was Yu Yang and the others who suppressed the warrior. Otherwise, a melee would have been inevitable. The god of death was having internal strife. The rules of the god of death were strict. They were not allowed to kill each other. Now, they were having internal strife. Yu Yang and the others felt this was unbelievable. The internal strife had put all the powerful warriors on high alert. Just now, all of them almost wanted to attack. Some wanted to kill Qiu Feng, thinking he was useless. Some wanted to kill the warrior of the great emperor realm who attacked Qiu Feng, thinking he was being unreasonable. All in all, just now, many powerful warriors had the desire to kill. If it were not for the fact that Yu Yang was quick enough, a melee would have broken out. By then, the more they killed, the more enraged they would be. In the end, none of them would be left alive. What did this mean? This meant that the mysterious force field was affecting them more and more. If they didn't take any measures, they might be in big trouble if they dragged on. We can't wait anymore. Young Lady Yuan and young Master Lu looked at each other. They each took out a blue talisman stone and prepared to use their treasures to leave this place. They were afraid that they would die here if they did not leave now. Third Sect Leader. Chapter 3153. That is, Teleportation Stone. Gu Su, Yu Yang, and the others noticed as soon as Lady Yuan took out the blue rune stone. Gu Su shouted in surprise. Yu Yang and the others didn't know, but they understood at once. The teleportation stone was a treasure of the Gue race. Only a powerful ancestor of the Gue race could make it. It was said that the price of the teleportation stone was 10 billion celestial stones, but none could be bought because the Gue race wouldn't sell it. The teleportation stone was a life-saving treasure. Under any circumstances, as long as one crushed the stone, one would be enveloped by a strong force of space and be teleported away in an instant. Therefore, with the teleportation stone, one could crush it and be teleported away in an instant when death was inevitable. It wouldn't matter if the enemy shattered the space. The stone contained a law of space. The teleportation stone was regarded as one of the most consumable treasures. Lady Yuan nodded and said, "Guys, I am sorry. This place is so strange. We will leave now. I hope you can come back safely." Bang! With that said, Lady Yuan and young Master Lu crushed the teleportation stone at the same time. While doing that, Lady Yuan looked at Lu Li with a mocking smile. She didn't mention the bet of 10 billion celestial stones. There's a 90% chance that Lu Li would die here. What was the point of making a bet with a dead man? Buzzing. Space suddenly trembled. Then a surge of strong force of space enveloped Lady Yuan and young Master Lu. A black hole appeared in space as well. Wrapped up by the force of space, they flew toward the black hole. Buzzing, the entire cave lit up at this moment, and the space around them trembled violently. Then, something happened that left Lady Yuan and young Master Lu dumbfounded. The black hole that had originally appeared collapsed, and the spatial power that enveloped them also suddenly disappeared. They fell down, but were not teleported away. Buzzing, there was another flash of white light in the cave. Then the fluctuation in space disappeared. Peace was restored in the cave. The powerful warriors looked at each other, speechless. "Ha!" A Saint Emperor from the God of Death broke the silence in the cave with a chuckle. Then, many Saint Emperors from the God of Death could not help but laugh as well. When Miss Yuan was about to leave, she looked at them with pity in her eyes, and there was a faint arrogance on her face. Initially, they were very jealous and displeased. Although they had gone their separate ways in the face of disaster, Miss Yuan and young Master Lu were so disloyal, wanting to leave without even exchanging a few words. Most importantly, they were mocking them. Now that they had failed to leave, it was equivalent to losing 2 instant teleportation stones, which were worth tens of billions. All the martial artists were secretly pleased, and some of them were gloating. What's going on? How is that possible? Lady Yuan's eyes were filled with shock and confusion as she murmured. Young Master Lu's expression was also very ugly. There could only be one instant teleportation stone. Lady Yuan might have a chance to obtain it, but it was impossible for him. He used a life-saving treasure, but he didn't manage to escape. This was not only a huge loss, but also not only would he be ridiculed by the other martial artists. Most importantly, he might die here. The instant teleportation stone could instantly teleport away, no matter what the situation was. Back then, their clan's old ancestor had experimented and used the instant teleportation stone to teleport away. Then, another old ancestor of their clan shattered the space, but he was still unable to shake the person who teleported away out. Why couldn't he teleport now? What was the problem? The space here has been sealed off, and the divine pattern here is very strong. Luli had a clear understanding of the situation just now, and he could guess the reason. It was not that teleportation could not be done, but the moment the tunnel was opened, it was forcefully cut off by the divine pattern here. Maybe the powerful warrior who set up the divine pattern had already considered this. If he wanted to teleport away, he would have activated the space formation here, sealed off the space here by force, and cut off the tunnel. Or perhaps there was a tomb keeper here as well. Both were possible. Either way, Lady Yuan could not leave. Luli was not secretly delighted. Instead, he had a headache. He actually hoped that this big-breasted, brainless young lady would leave. That would save him a lot of trouble. What was more, after Lady Yuan and young Master Lu realized that they could not leave, their minds would be in a mess. They might lose control of their emotions and go berserk. What if they attacked him? Lady Yuan had indeed lost control of her emotions. She saw some martial artists on the Grim Reaper's side were still secretly laughing. She glared at them and said, "What are you laughing at? Don't blame me for being rude if you keep laughing." Some Saint Kings on the Grim Reaper's side were displeased. One of them said coldly, "How can you be rude? Can the two of you kill all 50 of us?" Swish, 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 several Saint Kings of Grim Reaper stood up. Their eyes were filled with the desire to fight. All the warriors here could easily lose their temper. Powerful warriors of Grim Reaper were already filled with murderous intent. They were like dry firewood that was about to be ignited. Yu Yang restrained himself. He stood up and scolded. "What are you doing? Sit down." Yu Yang had some prestige. Those Saint Kings sat down, embarrassed. But they all wore mocking expressions. Some of the Grim Reapers reached out to Lady Yuan's breasts and buttocks without the slightest scruple. Sensing that something was wrong, Gu Su tried to smooth things over. "Okay, look at the situation now. Do you still want to fight among yourselves? Do you all want to die here? Restrain yourselves. The invisible force field here can affect our minds. You know that." Young Master Lu also tried to comfort Lady Yuan. Both parties restrained themselves and sat down with their legs crossed. Lady Yuan and young Master Lu looked dejected. They looked like frostbitten eggplants. Their expressions did not look good. Yu Yang transmitted his voice to the Grim Reaper's Saint Kings to restrain themselves. The storm was about to pass. However, when one of the Saint Kings stared at Lady Yuan's buttocks, Lady Yuan's suppressed emotions rose again. She turned around and glared at him. "Look again, and I'll dig your eyes out. If you don't believe me, you can try." Not only did that Saint King not look away, he became even more unscrupulous. Lady Yuan's anger flared up. A long sword appeared in her hand. She turned into a violent gust of wind and charged at the Saint King. Once Lady Yuan moved, young Master Lu, who was afraid that she would be at a disadvantage, also moved. The Grim Reaper's Saint King fearlessly retaliated. Several Grim Reapers nearby also launched their attacks. For a moment, murderous intent filled the air. The atmosphere in the cave froze. "Stop, stop!" Gu Su, the Shadow Race, and the Fairy Race panicked. They could not afford to offend either side. They could only retreat quickly while shouting. Yu Yang could not hold himself back anymore. He saw that a Saint King was almost killed by Lady Yuan. He was also furious. He took out his weapon and wanted to join in the fray. The Grim Reaper had 30 Saint Emperors. How could they not suppress 2 Saint Emperors from the Gue race? "Stop fighting if you want to go out." Right at that moment, A thunderous roar sounded out, causing all the martial artists' eardrums to hurt. That voice continued, "I have already broken through the divine formation here. Those who wish to leave, stop fighting immediately. Otherwise, I will be leaving. You all can fend for yourselves." Third Patriarch. Chapter 31:54. Lu Li used Dragon Roar, which stunned all the warriors. More importantly, Lu Li's words made all the warriors stop involuntarily. Lu Li had cracked the formation. Lu Li was going to leave without a truce. Not only the warriors of the Grim Reaper, Lady Yuan and young Master Lu stepped back as well. They had thought that they could not get out, which was why they were so agitated and mad. Now that they heard that they could leave, they calmed down. Lu Li was not trying to trick them. Just now, Blood Fairy had told him that she could solve the rune formations here. That was why Lu Li yelled. Lu Li didn't want to see a civil war. For one thing, he didn't want too many warriors of the Grim Reaper to die. More importantly, he was afraid that the situation would go out of control. If all the warriors of the Grim Reaper lost their minds, he would be in trouble as well. He wouldn't know how to explain to the Grim Reaper when he returned. The fighting stopped. 3 of the Grim Reaper's warriors were injured, and 1 was badly injured. Lady Yuan's battle prowess was extremely ferocious. The main reason was that her saint weapon was too powerful. She had many treasures all over her body. Those on the Grim Reaper's side were all at the initial stage of the Saint King realm. Yu Yang and the others didn't have the time to do anything. All eyes were on Lu Li. Gu Su was relieved. She asked Lu Li, "Young Master Lu, did you just say you have cracked the formation?" Gu Su sounded doubtful. Lu Li had been sitting and doing nothing. It would be the weirdest thing in the world if he could crack the formation like that. Lady Yuan came back to her senses. She said furiously, "Are you lying to us? You don't have to go with me if you want to stay here." Lu Li said casually. He turned to the injured warriors of the Grim Reaper and said, "Tend to your wounds first. Later, I will take you out of this level." Lu Li's eyes were sincere. Even though many warriors of the Grim Reaper did not believe him, they still sat down to tend to their wounds. Yang turned to Lu Li and asked, "Brother Lu, did you really crack it?" Lu Li looked up at him and nodded. Yu Yang was relieved. Once again, he saw Lu Li in a different light. Qiu Feng was the most powerful divine inscriptionist of his generation, yet he had been unable to make any progress. Lu Li, on the other hand, had unknowingly solved the divine inscriptions. Lady Yuan still didn't believe him. She thought Lu Li was just trying to trick her so that she wouldn't attack the warrior of the Grim Reaper. She snorted and said, "If I find out that you are lying to me, I will kill you." Lu Li threw him a cold glance and said bluntly, "Do you really think you are invincible? Do you believe that I can kill you? If you don't believe me, don't follow me later." You. Miss Yuan flew into a rage. She was already really angry just now, and at this moment, she almost exploded. But when she saw the coldness in Lu Li's eyes and the glowing source energy in his hand, she suddenly remembered the drop of horrifying red liquid in Lu Li's interspatial artifact. In addition, Lu Li's aura seemed to be real. She was a little hesitant. Could it be that Lu Li really cracked the formation? If so, she could not act recklessly. Otherwise, if Lu Li were to leave her and young Master Lu behind, then they would be trapped here for the rest of their lives. Seeing the look in Lu Li's eyes, Gu Su somehow believed him. She waved her hand and said, "Calm down. Let's listen to young Master Lu's arrangement later." The warriors of the Grim Reaper treated their wounds for a while. Some of their wounds were stabilized. The severely injured warrior was put away by Yu Yang into his interspatial artifact. Yu Yang didn't say anything. This was not Lady Yuan's fault alone. That severely injured Saint Emperor was being a bit presumptuous. Of course, Yu Yang also knew that this was all because of the mysterious force field. Everyone was in a bad mood. Therefore, it was pointless to pursue the matter. Seeing that Yu Yang had arranged everything, Lu Li waved his hand and said, "Come with me. Go." Gu Su blinked and said, "Where?" "Young Master Lu, didn't you say you're going to solve the formation? As long as we can get out of the maze, it doesn't matter. Luli asked back. His tone was full of confidence, and he left no room for doubt. He waved to Yang, who took out his weapon and walked in front of him. There were golden-jacketed rats here. Yu Yang led the way for Luli. The exits were originally sealed by Chiu Feng, but Luli stubbornly walked forward. He waved his hand in front of the seal, and the seal actually disappeared automatically. The warriors behind Luli looked at each other. Chiu Feng was shocked. The seal he built was not strong, but it shouldn't have been broken so easily. The powerful warriors forced their way forward. Under Lu Li's guidance, they moved to the left and to the right, forward and backward. Sometimes, they had to go back the way they came, which confused the warriors. But seeing that Lu Li was so confident, they didn't ask any more questions. They just wanted to try and see if they couldn't get out. Just like that, they went through more than 100 caves. Many times, they were going back the way they came. It was no different than before. Come back. After they went into another cave, Lu Li asked all the warriors to go back. Then they would go in again and come back again. After going in and out for 3 times, Lady Yuan finally couldn't stand it anymore. She shouted, "What are you doing? Are you playing us like monkeys?" All the powerful warriors were confused. What were they doing going in and coming back? Going in and coming back again? Was this how they cracked the formation? Were they sure they weren't kidding? Ha. Lu Li smiled lightly and said, "We have to go in and out 7 times. If you don't want to go in and out, then wait here." With that said, Lu Li nodded to Yu Yang. Yu Yang made up his mind and continued to follow Lu Li's instructions. One time, he went in and then he came back over and over again. Lady Yuan's eyes were filled with ferocity. But after the warriors went in, she made up her mind and went in as well. 4 times, 5 times, 7 times. After the warriors went in and out for 7 times, they saw a flash of white light in front of them. It was no longer the cave in front of them, but a long valley. Apart from Lu Li, all the warriors' mouths were wide open. Some of them even rubbed their eyes, thinking they were seeing things. Even after they made sure, the powerful warriors still couldn't believe it. They felt like they were mortals witnessing a miracle. How did they get out? Or did they get out in some miraculous way? Turning left and right, going forward and backward, going around and around. And then they got out? Was this a blind cat running into a dead mouse? Nobody believed it was luck. Then there was only one explanation. Lu Li had really seen through the formation. He had been sitting in a corner with his legs crossed for almost a year, and he had cracked the formation easily. Don't doubt it. You to get out. Lu Li's calm voice sounded. Don't worry. I can get you out, and I can take you back. So, you could try the later levels now. Lady Yuan. Lu Li turned to Lady Yuan behind him and said, I have led everyone out in a year and cracked the formation. So, you have lost the bet. You owe me 20 billion now. Please write me another IOU. Otherwise, I may not be able to take you back. P.S. 4 chapters added. Third Sect Leader. Chapter 3155. 10 billion celestial stones could buy many treasures. Treasures from heaven and earth could buy a warehouse, enough to buy a city in a larger universe, or ask the god of death to wipe out a major race. Lu Li had 10 billion today, a bet. He could not renege on the 10 billion unless Lady Yuan killed Lu Li or killed Yu Yang, Gu Su, and the others. Otherwise, she would have to obediently hand over the 10 billion yuan. Otherwise, she would lose her reputation. The most powerful young lady of the Dun race would not renege. Unless Lady Yuan was shameless enough to disregard her reputation, then it wouldn't matter. Lu Li couldn't do anything to the Dun race anyway. How could Lady Yuan be shameless? She was a powerful warrior with a transcendent status. It was almost certain that she would become a powerful warrior that was infinitely close to the completion. Such a strong warrior would become the strongest warrior in the chaotic starfields in the future. Such a strong warrior would not allow himself to be tainted. Lady Yuan pulled a long face. She had thought that Lu Li would not be able to solve the formation, which was why she wanted to take the gamble. The thought of losing never crossed her mind. Now that Lu Li mentioned it, she realized she owed Lu Li 20 billion. How was she going to pay him back? Was she going to ask her family to pay him back? How humiliating would that be? There was a hidden meaning in Lu Li's words. Without him, no one would be able to get out. Therefore, if anyone dared to kill Lu Li, or if Lu Li died, all the warriors would not be able to get out. They would all be trapped here. Lady Yuan made up her mind, seeing that the powerful warriors were looking at her. She took out a pen and paper from her interspatial ring. She wrote down another IOU and threw it to Lu Li without saying anything. Lu Li put away the IOU with a smile and said, "Let's continue after some rest. I will not be of much help from now on. I will have to count on you." Lu Li had said the same thing before. But if it weren't for him, all the powerful warriors would have been trapped here. Lu Li, a warrior of the Emperor realm, could not only detoxify poisons, but also crack formations. Lu Li had become mysterious to the powerful warriors. Gusu looked at the powerful warriors of the Shadow Race who bowed to Lu Li. Gusu said, "Thank you, young Master Lu." This time, Gusu didn't say that she would reward Lu Li handsomely. She was afraid that Lu Li would ask for 10 billion again. Should she give him or not? "You're too polite, too polite." Lu Li waved his hand gently and said no more. Gusu and the others talked for a while and then moved on. Again, there was a group of Saint Kings leading the way. Lu Li and the others were surrounded in the middle. Qiu Feng was hit hard. He looked awful. Every now and then, he would look at Lu Li with jealousy and confusion. The group of powerful beings advanced slowly. At this moment, they were at the 10th level, which was a canyon. The canyon was very dark, and the chilly wind was blowing. It was obvious that it would not be easy for them to pass through. Yang Yu walked forward for a while before stopping. He looked at Qiu Feng and said, "Qiu Feng, what are you doing? Pay attention to the surroundings. What if there's an attack from a divine rune formation?" Qiu Feng came to his senses and took a few steps forward. He stood behind Yu Yang and raised his mental power to investigate. Lu Li had asked Blood Fairy to investigate secretly, not only for the sake of the team, but also for the sake of his own life. However, there were no trapping formations or killing formations in the valley. After a moment of observation, Lu Li sent a message to Yu Yang. "Young Master Yu, there might be ferocious beasts with soul bodies here. Tell everyone to be careful. There were no divine runes here, and the terrain was not spacious. The previous level already had golden swallowing rats, which was why this place was filled with chilly air. Therefore, Lu Li believed that there must be ferocious beasts with soul bodies here that could attack warrior souls." Yang Yu told the warriors at once. At the same time, he mobilized several Saint Kings with the strongest souls to stand at the front. Lu Li was still talking to Lady Gusu, but not to Lady Yuan and young Master Lu, who were at the front. Woo woo, sure enough, after just a dozen or so kilometers, a sharp cry suddenly rang out in front of them. When the group of powerhouses cast their divine senses forward, a black fog quickly emerged from the canyon on both sides, enveloping the dozen or so martial artists in front of them. Yang Yu and the others were prepared. Lady Yuan, on the other hand, was startled. She yelled, "Ferocious beasts with soul bodies are attacking. Be careful." After she shouted, she realized that everything was quiet. Young Master Lu was the only one who was surprised. Yu Yang, Lady Gusu, and the others had begun to take out their treasures or use soul skills. Lady Yuan was embarrassed, but she did not panic. She was protected by powerful treasures in her soul, so she was not afraid of average soul attacks. This time, it was a kind of soul monster in the shape of moths. The monsters were small in size and would explode as soon as they reached the soul. It was horrifying. Fortunately, Lady Yuan and young Master Lu had treasures of souls. Lady Gusu and Yu Yang also had treasures, and they were prepared. None of them was hurt. Things are getting tricky. Yang, you noticed that there were more moths coming out from the walls on both sides. There were too many of them. They could stand it, but could the Emperor Realm warriors? Should we put them into our interspatial artifact and go over? Yang Yu had an idea. However, when he tried to put a Saint King nearby in his interspatial artifact, he realized that the space here was sealed and the interspatial artifact was ineffective. How do we get past this level? Yang Yu used some skills to kill some moths, and then he stepped back quickly. He called the other Saint Kings to come back as well. After they had retreated for a couple of miles, the moths stopped coming. They all turned into ashes and returned to the walls. We cannot use our interspatial artifacts here. The moths are endless. Some of us may be able to get through, but most of the warriors will find it hard. Let's talk about how to get through. Yang Yu said. Lady Yuan and young Master Lu smiled. The treasures in their souls allowed them to ignore the moths. It was a piece of cake for them to get past this level. They did not have to worry about the lives of the other warriors. Therefore, they said nothing. It was none of their business. Among the group of Emperor Realm warriors, there was a powerful warrior who could kill a Saint King at the initial stage of the soul attack. He thought about it and said, how about we move forward step by step and kill the moths? There can't be an endless number of moths. There were many powerful warriors here, and many of them had some attainments in the aspect of soul. Therefore, it was not difficult for them to kill the moths. They could just let the moths enter their souls and explode. The warriors could protect their souls and not be hurt. There can be an endless number of moths here, Lu Li said. At this moment, Lu Li said, those moths are not beasts, but a strange way of attack. It is because of the divine patterns here. They look like soul monsters, but they are actually divine patterns. Therefore, as long as there is enough energy in the divine patterns, the attacks can be endless. Divine patterns? Gusu's eyes glowed. She said at once, young Master Lu, can you solve the divine patterns here? If you can, we will be able to get through easily. I can't. Lu Li shook his head. Blood Fairy had made a preliminary judgment. Lu Li said, the divine patterns here are connected to the main divine patterns of the entire ancient Desolation Valley. If we can solve the divine patterns here, then we can solve all the divine patterns in the entire ancient Desolation Valley. They cannot force their way through or use their wits. For a moment, the warriors were at a loss. Chapter 31:56. In order to verify Lu Li's assumption, several powerful warriors went to test it out. They had been attacking for several hours and killed many moths. However, as long as they were still there, the black moths would never end. The other powerful warriors gathered together to discuss, but they couldn't come up with a good solution. Since the interspatial artifact could not be used, all the warriors would be attacked as long as they moved forward. There were more than 70 martial artists, and only about 20 of them could resist. Moreover, they could only resist the attack of the moths at the front. This canyon was very long. Who knew if there would be stronger attacks at the back? Therefore, after several hours of discussion, the result was that the more than a dozen of the most powerful warriors would move forward and the rest would wait here. Lu Li was most pleased with the outcome of this discussion. He didn't want to take any risks, nor did he want to get any treasures. It would be best if he could just sit here and relax. The Reaper's great Emperor Realm warriors were happy as well. They were only here to carry out a mission. Even if there were treasures, they wouldn't get a share. Instead, they would be in mortal danger. It would be perfect if the mission could end here. But Lady Yuan was not happy. She was afraid that Lu Li would slip away. She hadn't figured out a way to deal with Lu Li yet, but she didn't want him to slip away. She made up her mind and said, you wait here. I will go and see if I can lure all the moths away by myself. Sister Yuan, don't be reckless. Young Master Lu was getting anxious, but Lady Yuan had already rushed over. She stood in the middle of the dark fog. Suddenly, rays of golden light came out from her, turning her into a Buddha. Impressive. At that moment, all the powerhouses realized that Lady Yuan was emanating a very strange aura. It felt as though their cultivation levels had been suppressed. It was as though a group of 3rd or 4th tribulation martial artists were facing a lord. That kind of pressure made it hard for them to breathe. Is this the special skill of the Duans? Lu Li asked Yang, who nodded and replied, yes. This kind of special skill of the Duans is overbearing. It can suppress the opponent. Even though it can only affect the opponent's spirit, it can't really suppress the opponent's abilities. But you know, in a fight between powerful warriors, life and death can be decided in the time for one breath. If it is a powerful warrior of the same realm and his soul is suppressed, then it will be so easy to win. Yes, Luli nodded in agreement. Once there was a feeling of defeat in the soul, then the GUIs would be weakened, and so would their reaction speed. If the opponent was a powerful warrior of the same realm, then it would be too easy for the GUIs to win. It was said that there were tens of thousands of races in this great world, but the heavens truly loved the sea and desolate race. With such powerful divine powers, it would be difficult for them not to flourish. All the moths flew over from all directions and gathered around Miss Yuan. After a while, Miss Yuan retreated and said confidently, "I can hold the front and attract all the moths. You guys just need to follow me." Even though they had witnessed Miss Yuan's display of invincible might, the group of martial artists still did not quite believe it. After all, Miss Yuan was only standing at the edge of the area. Who knew what was inside? One of the Grim Reapers raised this question, but Miss Yuan said proudly, "Since you don't believe me, I'll go in and take a look first." "Sister Yuan." Young Master Lu was anxious, but young Lady Yuan turned into a gust of wind and directly rushed in, once again releasing her innate divine ability. Yu Yang thought about it and said, "I will try to follow you." If Miss Yuan could really withstand all the moths, then Yu Yang would bring all the warriors in. There was strength in numbers, especially when the dozens of Imperial Realm warriors all had their own skills. Maybe they could be of help. Of course, so far, apart from Lu Li, none of the 20 Imperial Realm warriors had shown their usefulness. "I will go as well." Young Master Lu made up his mind and followed Miss Yuan. His status in the family was much lower than Miss Yuan's. He was here to keep an eye on Miss Yuan. If necessary, he would die in place of Miss Yuan. It works? After Yu Yang went over, the powerful warriors realized that Miss Yuan had attracted all the moths. Yu Yang and young Master Lu were not attacked by the moths. Miss Yuan released her innate divine ability. Not only could it suppress the enemies, it could also make all the enemies focus on her. This was already proven. Previously, when the GUIs released their innate divine ability, all the ferocious beasts nearby would attack the GUIs. Miss Yuan led Yu Yang and young Master Lu forward. All the moths rushed towards Miss Yuan. Inside Miss Yuan's soul was not only protected by a powerful demonic soul, but also a piece of treasure. This treasure belonged to the GUIs. Previously, it was used by the powerful warrior at the consummate realm of the GUIs. Now, it was used to protect Miss Yuan. The valley was not very long. Since Miss Yuan had the treasure, she could do whatever she wanted. She crossed the valley with Yu Yang and young Master Lu easily. When they were about to pass through the valley, not only did the number of moths increase, but there was also a strange kind of moth that seemed to be more powerful. However, when those powerful moths entered Miss Yuan's soul, nothing happened to her. She came back with Yu Yang and young Master Lu. She looked proud, like a female general who had just returned from a victory. "How is it? Can you put your mind at ease now?" Miss Yuan glanced over, and her eyes stopped on Lu Li for the time, for several breaths, as if she was demonstrating her power to Lu Li in silence. Lu Li smiled lightly and said, "Lady Yuan is mighty, but I think I will stay here. I won't be of much help even if I go up. Instead, I will be a burden to you." Lu Li's soul was good, but not particularly strong. He was not sure that he could get through this level. Therefore, if he relied on Lady Yuan to get through this level, then he would be controlled by her. If Lady Yuan didn't bring him back, then he might be trapped in there until he died. Of course, if Lady Yuan didn't bring him out, then she could not get out of the two levels, the maze formation and the poisonous fog. Therefore, Lu Li's safety was not a problem. It was just that he didn't want to be controlled by others. "How can we do this?" Lady Yuan snorted and said, "You are very useful. You could detoxify and crack formations. Without you, how can we get through the later levels? You must go with us." Gusu also said, "Young Master Lu, don't belittle yourself. You are very useful. Don't worry, young Master Lu. Even if we all die, we will not let you die. We will do our best to protect you and not let you get hurt. We will reward you later." Gusu didn't want Lu Li to stay here either. Otherwise, if Lu Li sneaked away, how could they get out? Yu Yang also said at this moment, "Brother Lu, can I trouble you? All right. The powerful warriors behind, Lu Li, who still had to rely on Sun Feather, and the Grim Reaper nodded helplessly. Lady Yuan waved her hand and said, "Follow me closely. We will rush over as fast as we can. Brother Lu, Gu Su, Yang, you guys guard the perimeter. If there's any danger, you guys can help." After the discussion, the group of martial artists took their positions. Miss Yuan took the lead and rushed forward at a moderate speed. She released her innate divine ability, and all the experts behind her could feel it deeply. They felt that she was like an invincible empress that they could only look up to and worship. The eyes of some of the death god martial artists also became scorching hot. Lady Yuan's body and appearance were already very perfect. At this moment, it stimulated their strong desire to conquer her. If he could conquer this high and mighty woman who was like an empress, how delightful would that be? Third Sect Leader. Chapter 31:57. Beyond the valley, there was an endless plain in front of them. The lighting was good as well. It was as if they had walked out of the ancient Desolation Valley. However, after arriving here, the expressions of all the cultivators became solemn. This was because they all felt a faint sense of danger. This stage should be very dangerous. This was the 11th level. Once they passed this level, they could enter the 12th, the last level of the ancient Desolation Valley. Therefore, this level would not be easy to pass. There must be powerful beasts or puppets on this level. There must be a lot of them. Lu Li thought to himself. He was not afraid because he had the secret stealth skill. What was more, there were so many powerful warriors here. He didn't have to do anything. The warriors were not in a hurry to move forward. They rested and built up their strength, preparing for the upcoming battle. After resting for 2 hours, Yu Yang tried to use his interspatial artifact, but it was still not working. "Let's go." Lady Yuan stood up and said. The warriors were in the same position. Lady Yuan, Su Yu, and Lu Li were at the front. The great Emperor Realm warriors were in the middle, and the other Saint Kings were on the periphery. Another Saint King was standing next to Lu Li. He was someone to be protected. Nothing could happen to him. If Lu Li died, the warriors might not be able to go back. Of course, if there was a teleportation portal on the 12th level, then they wouldn't have to go back the way they came. Lu Li wouldn't be able to use it. This was a common situation. Usually, the powerful warriors who set up such a dangerous place would build a teleportation altar on the last level so that the warriors could be teleported away directly. There is a small mountain over there. Dozens of miles later, a warrior pointed to the distance and said. The sudden appearance of a mountain on a plain seemed out of place. It caught the attention of all the powerful warriors. "Let's go and have a look." Lady Yuan was bold. The entrance to the 12th level would not be on a plain. Therefore, they had to go and check out the strange terrain. What if there was an entrance? Lady Yuan left the team alone. Young Master Lu followed her. Yu Yang and the others didn't move. They just used psychic power to check the mountain. Something is wrong. Lu Li suddenly shouted, "There's a beast in the mountain." As soon as Lu Li finished his words, the mountain in the distance exploded. Following that, a human-shaped beast rushed up. It had the body of an ape, but its head was that of a lion, and it had 2 heads. It had a head of long, shiny golden hair, an iron tail on its back, and sharp claws on its hands and feet. It was hundreds of meters tall, and its blood energy was astonishing. Roar! The gigantic beast raised its head and roared into the sky. Next, it raised its gigantic legs and strode forward. Every step it took covered a distance of tens of li, causing the ground to tremble violently as though there was an earthquake. Ferocious beast. Yu Yang's expression became more solemn. Seeing that Lu Li and some warriors did not know each other, he explained, "This is an ancient species. I thought it was extinct, but I didn't expect to see it here. This beast's defense is amazing, but its attack power isn't particularly strong." Then there's no problem. A Saint Emperor pursed his lips. They had so many experts, so why would they be afraid of a single beast? He saw that the beast wasn't particularly fast. At worst, he could just retreat and go around it. The problem is not with the Meng Yen beast, Sun Yu said worriedly. I am worried that there is an ancient xenogeneic here. Perhaps there will be other ancient xenogeneics as well. These ancient mutated beasts all had their own divine abilities and were extremely ferocious. Also, if we start fighting here, we will be in big trouble if other beasts nearby are attracted here. Sun Yu was not worried about his own death. He was worried about the 20 great Emperor Realm warriors. They were the backup force of the Grim Reaper. Some of them would become Saint Emperors in the future. If they all died here, then the Grim Reaper would suffer a great loss. Boom, 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 Lady Yuan and young Master Lu had started fighting. Sun Yu waved his hand to some Saint Emperors and said, "Let's attack together. Kill them as soon as possible and leave now. Don't attract other beasts here." Roar, roar. Just as Yu Yang finished his words, a sky-shaking roar came from 10,000 miles away on the left side. Next, another gigantic beast roared, and a piercing cry of a bird came from the sky as well. A dark silhouette flew over from afar at a high speed. Do it! Yu Yang and the group of Saint Kings all had a heavy expression on their faces. Lady Gu Su and the others also didn't dare to watch from the sidelines. They immediately joined the battle and tried to kill or heavily injure the three beasts. Otherwise, more beasts would be attracted over. "Lord, don't worry about me. I can protect myself. Take care of them," Lu Li said to the Saint Emperors who were guarding next to him when he saw the huge rock. Then he used stealth skill and vanished on the spot. The Saint Emperor next to Lu Li was about to say something when he realized that Lu Li had disappeared as if he had evaporated into thin air. The Saint Emperor was surprised. Several other great Emperor Realm warriors saw this as well. They used psychic power to check, but found nothing. They didn't even feel any movement in space. One of the great Emperor Realm warriors went to where Lu Li was standing. He was even more surprised to find that it was empty. "Don't worry about me. I am nearby. The beast cannot find me." Lu Li's voice came to the Saint Emperor's ears. The Saint Emperor followed the voice and used psychic power only to find nothing there. His eyes revealed a trace of astonishment. This little Emperor rank was too mystical. His skills were miraculous. There were many stealth skills. Many of the Grim Reaper knew this. That being said, stealth skills were useless to high-level warriors because they could locate you based on the slightest movement in space. Even if it was a high-level stealth skill, the Saint Emperor Realm warrior should be able to see through it since he was a Saint Emperor and Lu Li was a great Emperor. The Saint Emperor Realm warrior did not expect that Lu Li's stealth skill would disappear completely. Lu Li had walked away from the Saint Emperor Realm without him noticing. The Saint Emperor Realm warrior was shocked. Lu Li did not want to leave his fate in the hands of others. More importantly, there were dozens of great Emperor Realm warriors here. The Saint Emperor Realm warriors would attract the attention of the Saint Emperor Realm warriors in the air. The Saint Emperor Realm warriors would be the first to attack. Lu Li would not be afraid if he could enter the sacred mountain. He could not use any interspatial artifacts here. Chirp, as Lu Li had expected, the huge rock in the sky had locked onto him. The rock swooped down and was about to spit out flames. Naturally, the Saint Emperors guarding here would not allow the rock to attack. 5 Saint Emperors flew up and charged toward the rock. Below, a Saint Emperor released a divine ability, condensing a giant shield to block the flames. Boom, boom, boom. At that moment, the 3 battles began. The beasts were all ancient beasts, and every single one of them possessed the battle prowess of a Saint King. Their defenses were extremely shocking, so the battle quickly reached its climax. Roar, roar, woo, woo, kacha. A series of earth-shattering roars rang out from afar, causing the expressions of all the experts to change drastically. Before the 3 ferocious beasts could be killed, countless ancient mutants in the distance were alerted as they roared and charged towards them. Third Sect Leader. Chapter 31:58. There were more than a dozen ancient beasts, and each one of them was as strong as a Saint Emperor. Their defense was strong, and their attacks were sharp as well. This was a big problem for Yu Yang and the others. More importantly, the great emperors could not be taken in, and they could not fight against the ancient beasts. If they were scattered, it would be hard to protect them. If they were gathered together, they would become the targets of the ancient beasts. Therefore, the fight was tough. If it were not for Lady Yuan and young Master Lu, Yu Yang and Gu Su would have suffered even more. Lady Yuan was strong. She had already wounded the first Mengli beast and was on her way to the second ancient beast. She also told Yu Yang and the others not to worry about her. She could deal with one ancient beast by herself, and asked Yu Yang to attack the other beasts. Yu Yang sent 10 Saint Emperors to protect the 19 Great Emperors. The other 20 Saint Emperors were divided into several groups to attack the ancient beasts with the young masters and young ladies of the elf race and the shadow race. These ancient mutants were very large in size, and their attacks were very powerful. The ground around them was blasted open, and the space around them was torn apart. Their loud roars were deafening, and their shocking chi and blood made it hard for all the warriors to breathe. One of the ancient beasts' roars could create waves in space. Warriors that were enveloped by the roar would be thrown away like boats in a raging sea. One of the ancient beasts could spit out cold air, which froze everything it touched. A Saint Emperor was shrouded by the cold air and turned into an ice sculpture. If it were not for Yu Yang's quick reaction, the Saint Emperor would have been torn apart by the beasts. There was an ancient xenogeneic that could release a light ball. The light ball radiated in all directions, and when it came into contact with the light ball, it caused a scary explosion. There was another ancient beast that could shoot out white glare from its eyes. The glare was not for attack. Instead, once a warrior was touched, it would turn into a spider web and entangle the warrior so that he could not move. These ancient beasts are so strong. Lu Li was hiding in a pit in the distance, watching the fight. His secret stealth was so powerful that none of the ancient beasts noticed him. Maybe some of the ancient beasts sensed him, but they didn't pay attention to him. After all, Lu Li was hundreds of miles away. His chi and energy were not strong, and he was alone. The ancient beasts would choose to attack the powerful warriors over there. Whoosh, whoosh, the rock in the sky spat out a mouthful of fire towards the group of overlords. The overlords were being attacked by 2 ancient xenogeneics, and the holy king who was protecting them could not hold on any longer. The flames engulfed a dozen overlords. The 3 overlord rankers were relatively weak and were instantly burned to death. The flames spat out by the Peng were too terrifying. They were even more powerful than ordinary divine flames of the heavens and earth. These Emperor-class experts didn't have strong defenses, so they naturally couldn't withstand it. Most of the other overlord ranks were injured. 2 overlord ranks were severely injured, and only a few overlord ranks were uninjured. After entering the Great Desolation Valley, this was the first time there were casualties. Moreover, 3 of them had died. Yu Yang roared furiously. Bring them back first. We'll deal with these bastards once we're a safe place. The group of Saint Kings no longer held back. They all struck out violently, suppressing the ancient beasts. On the other side, 2 Saint Emperors were protecting the remaining Thearchs as they retreated. The remaining 8 Saint Emperors were blocking the ancient mutants that were pursuing them. The direction the overlord ranks retreated happened to be where Lu Li was. They were so fast that before Lu Li could retreat, the overlord ranks had already arrived. In midair, the Peng seemed to be in high spirits. It circled around in midair, got rid of the Saint Emperors that were blocking it, and once again whizzed over. **T. Lu Li wanted to retreat quickly, but the ancient mutants in midair had arrived. The 2 Saint Emperors were alarmed and shouted, "Spread out!" Clearly, the 2 Saint Emperors couldn't withstand the Peng. They had to grit their teeth and charge forward while telling the overlord ranks to disperse. Lu Li was not fast. He estimated that if he was unlucky, he might be hit by the Peng's flames. He didn't want to get hurt. After all, there were so many ancient mutants here. A glint of ferocity rose in his eyes. He used a drop of purple divine liquid and then released a formation. Whoosh! After the formation was released, Lu Li showed himself and flew up into the sky. After confirming that the ancient mutant was trapped by the spirit formation technique, a saber appeared in his hand, and he slashed at the ancient mutant above him. Lu Li suddenly appeared among the overlord ranks. Therefore, before they could react, Luli was already in midair. His saber glowed as he hacked at the ancient mutants. Boom! At the same time, the two Saint Emperor's attacks arrived as well. 3 strikes landed on the ancient mutants, and the ancient mutants were smashed away. Chirp! What happened next shocked the two Saint Emperors. The ancient mutants tumbled around in midair and let out shrill cries. Then, its flesh and blood melted away bit by bit. Visible to the naked eye, the ancient mutants were reduced to bones. Boom! The huge skeleton of the ancient mutants fell down. The ancient mutants' bones were not damaged. Therefore, the skeleton was intact. After it fell down, the ancient mutants' bones were neatly placed on the ground. What? The two Saint Emperors looked at each other, speechless. The overlord ranks that were about to flee were shocked as well. How could the ancient mutants die so easily? Or was it just a skeleton? What kind of amazing skill was this? The two Saint Emperors were at the initial stage of the Saint Emperor realm. They had some idea of their own abilities. They looked at Lu Li with surprise. Lu Li smiled and cupped his fists. My lords, you are so mighty. You killed the ancient mutants in one move. Congratulations. The two Saint Emperors curled their lips. Their cheeks were burning. They were about to say something when Lu Li winked at them. Lu Li winked at them. The two Saint Emperors understood at once and said nothing more. A true man does not show his face. The two Saint Emperors looked at Lu Li with respect. As far as they could see, Lu Li must be a super powerful warrior. He was just hiding his strength. Lu Li might not be a powerful warrior that was infinitely close to the consummate realm, but he was at least on the same level as Yu Yang. A hidden hand. The two Saint Emperors felt that Lu Li was the hidden hand of the Grim Reaper's higher-ups. He was the core of this mission. This was what the higher-ups of the Grim Reaper liked to do. They would hide their true hand and only reveal it when it was necessary. Only then could they achieve miraculous results. He could detoxify, break formations, hide himself so well that they could not find him. Now, he could even kill the ancient mutants in one move. No matter how they looked at it, Lu Li was a powerful warrior. How could someone like him be at the overlord rank? How could the two Saint Emperors believe that? You can leave first. I will stay here and take a look. Don't worry about my safety, Lu Li said and disappeared on the spot. The two Saint Emperors obediently retreated with a group of great emperors. They were not worried about Lu Li's safety at all. Why would such a powerful warrior need their protection? Wasn't this a joke? Third Master. Chapter 31:59. Lu Li didn't do anything else. His purple divine liquid and venom were rare. Every drop he used was 1 drop less. What was more, the venom could be sold for celestial stones. Unless he had no other choice, he wouldn't do anything. That being said, he had absorbed a lot of poisonous fog at the 8th level. He might have created some venom as well. What was more, he wouldn't do anything unless he had to. Even Lady Yuan could not stand it. Clearly, the poisonous fog here was strong. The venom that was formed must be strong as well. After the great Emperor Realm warriors retreated to a safe place, Yu Yang and the others felt less pressure. They didn't have to worry about fighting anymore. Ancient beasts were strong, but Lady Yuan and Yu Yang were not weak either. There were so many Saint Kings with them. It was not difficult to suppress them. Lu Li watched the show from the sidelines, observing the powerful moves of the Saint Kings. Even though these Saint Kings weren't the strongest in the chaotic starfield, they were still elites who could become powerful in the future. There were many things worth learning from them. There was no doubt. Of all the Saint Kings, Lady Yuan was the most powerful. The host's talents were very overbearing, and they could even suppress beasts. Now, Lady Yuan's body was bathed in gold light. She held a sword that shone brightly. She swung it, and an ancient Xenogeneic was sent flying away with ease. Her awe-inspiring appearance was like that of a female empress, giving men the desire to conquer her limitless. Admittedly, even though Lady Yuan didn't have an interesting soul, she was the most beautiful. Born a big family, she had been trained in etiquette since she was a child. Her movements were graceful and beautiful. Every frown, every smile, every move she made was charming and captivating. God really dotes on her, Lu Li exclaimed. He turned to the other powerful warriors. Young Master Lu paled in comparison to Lady Yuan. Of course, young Master Lu would be a top young master if he were alone. Yu Yang was strong, not only in terms of realm, but also in terms of actual abilities. This descendant of the Grim Reaper must have been trained since he was a child. He had been through many battles and was very strong. Lu Li believed that if he were to fight against Yu Yang, he would be the one to die if he couldn't sneak up on Yu Yang. Gu Su and a young master of the Shadow Race were strong as well. Not only was Lady Gu Su beautiful, she had a good temperament and character. She was strong as well. Compared to Lady Yuan, Lu Li liked this Lady Mushroom Su more. Of course, Lu Li knew what he was doing. He was just a nobody in the chaotic Sky Star fields. Not to mention Gu Su, the first lady of the fairy clan. He was afraid that even the other holy royal lady of the fairy clan would not want to marry him. At the end of the day, he was only a monarch. Although he had some strange tricks that could kill mid-Saint emperors, it was not the way of a monarch after all. He would not be acknowledged by the large clans. Lu Li hid on the side, watching the powerful warriors fight. He would glance at some pretty girls every now and then, feeling quite comfortable. Those ferocious beasts couldn't find him either. None of them had locked onto him. This battle lasted for more than half a day and finally ended when all the beasts were killed and heavily injured. In addition to the 3 Emperor-level experts who had died, only 4 Saint Emperors were injured, so their losses were not too great. All the experts had top-notch elixirs. As long as they didn't die, they would be able to recover no matter how severe their injuries were. A Saint Emperor went to bring over the Overlord Rancor, hidden in the back. Yu Yang glanced over and asked, "Where is little brother Lu?" Buzzing, Lu Li came out from the distance. He flew over, cupped his fists, and said, "Brother Yu, I am here." Yu Yang was relieved to see that Lu Li was fine. The battle was so intense that he didn't have time to pay attention to Lu Li. Yu Yang nodded and said, "I am glad that you are fine. I was afraid that Yu Hong would not be able to take good care of you." That Saint Emperor touched his nose and said with shame, "Brother Yang, you want me to take care of him. Isn't that a slap to my face? How can I take care of Lord Lu? Lord Lu should be the one taking care of me." Yu Yang was slightly startled. Yu Hong looked at the rock skeleton in the distance and transmitted his voice. "Brother Yang, this brother Lu killed that ancient mutated beast with a single move and turned it into a skeleton. You want me to take care of him? Are you kidding me?" "What?" Yu Yang couldn't believe it. Making sure that Yu Hong was not joking, he had to reevaluate Lu Li. Was this the plan of Emperor Yin? Emperor Yin was one of the founding members of the Grim Reaper. Maybe there was a deeper meaning behind this arrangement. Yu Yang didn't pay attention to Lu Li, but powerful warriors of the Shadow Race and the Elf Race did. They had already spread the news. After Gu Su received the report, she looked at Lu Li meaningfully, but did not say anything. Lady Yuan and young Master Lu didn't pay attention to what was going on. Lady Yuan threw Lu Li a warning glance, only to find that Lu Li didn't even look at her. He was chatting with Yu Yang with his head down. She looked at Lu Li for a while, but he didn't pay attention to her either. She felt as if she had punched into water. She was so upset that she wanted to vomit blood. "Let's take a break. Those who are injured, tend to your wounds first. When you are healed, we will move on," Yu Yang said. All the powerful warriors agreed. There must be more than a dozen ferocious beasts here. Therefore, they must be in their best condition. After 3 days of rest, everyone's wounds were healed. Lady Yuan and Gu Su moved on with the team. This time, they were divided into 2 groups. In the front, Lady Yuan, Yu Yang, Gu Su, and the other Saint Emperors were together. There was a distance of more than 300 miles between the 2 groups. In this way, if something happened at the front, those at the back could retreat. If something happened at the back, those at the front could come to their rescue immediately. After traveling for half a day, more ancient mutants appeared in front of them. Moreover, there were more than 10 of them. Since there was another 300 miles between the 2 groups, the ancient beasts at the front didn't notice the warriors at the back. After Qiu Feng built a divine rune, 2 Saint Emperors stayed behind, and the others went to the front to help. Lu Li didn't stay in the divine rune formation. He went to the front to enjoy the show. Lady Yuan, Yu Yang, and Gu Su fought hard for half a day. They either killed or repelled the more than a dozen ancient beasts. Because of the proper arrangement, none of the warriors died. Only 2 sane emperors were injured. After half a day of rest, they moved on. For the next couple of days, it was like this. They ran into more ancient beasts and kept on fighting. Luckily, the ancient beasts here were not particularly strong. Therefore, the powerful warriors could manage. After 9 days, the powerful warriors finally arrived at the entrance of the last level. The entrance was very easy to identify. There was a mountain in the plain in front of them. Below the mountain, there was a path that spiraled upwards. At the top of the mountain, they could see a door that was glowing with a faint blue light. Even though they found the entrance, none of the powerful warriors were happy, because they found an ancient beast at the foot of the mountain. The ancient beast was sleeping soundly, snoring like thunder. 2 streams of white mist came out of its nose. When the white mist came out, cracks appeared in the space in front of it. One of the 10 ancient beasts, Thunder Devastator Beast. Yu Yang recognized the ferocious beast at first glance. Noticing Lu Li's curiosity, Yu Yang sighed and explained, "This kind of ancient mutant is as powerful as a warrior at the consummate realm. It will be very difficult for us to go up there. P.S. 4 chapters tomorrow." Chapter 3160. There were many mutants in the ancient times. They ran amok in the world and wreaked havoc in many universes. Countless people died in the hands of these mutants. That period was a nightmare for all races. Later on, the 10,000 races began to have elites rise up. The 10,000 races also thought of all sorts of methods, such as obtaining the essence blood of ancient mutants to improve their physiques, learning the mystic arts of ancient mutants, or comprehending the true meaning of the laws of heaven and earth to obtain powerful combat power. Ancient mutants were powerful, but the 10,000 races had the advantage of intelligence, learning, and adapting. Gradually, the 10,000 races rose. The ancient mutants were suppressed and eliminated. Most of them went extinct. The ancient era was a dark era, and it was also a bloody era. There were at least tens of thousands of ancient xenogeneics during that time. How terrifying would a top 10 xenogeneics combat power be? The Thunder Devastator beast in front of them was one of the 10 great mutants of the ancient era. It had once been famous in the ancient era and was an existence that made countless races tremble in fear. If it were not for the fact that this mutant was underage, Yu Yang and the others would have turned around and left. An adult Thunder Terror beast could be more than 1,000 feet long. This one was only more than 1,000 feet, and it was not that powerful. It must be underage. The master of the Great Desolation Valley must be a powerful warrior at the consummate level. Lu Li exclaimed. The powerful warrior must be powerful to be able to find so many ancient beasts and a thunder beast. Otherwise, how could he have tamed them? Lady Yuan's eyes glowed. This was a Thunder Terror beast, an underage one. If she could tame it and bring it back to her clan, then she would have made a great contribution. However, to tame this Thunder Terror beast, she would have to injure it badly. Did she have that ability? When young Master Lu saw the passion in Miss Yuan's eyes, he quickly whispered, "Don't be rash, Sister Yuan. This is a Thunder Devastator beast. If we attack it recklessly, we might all die here." Lady Gusu and the others were worried. A Saint King of Reaper asked with curiosity, "Lady Gusu, there is a Thunder Terror beast guarding here. How did your cousin get in?" Lady Gusu shook her head with a smile. "I don't know. My cousin has always enjoyed exploring ancient relics and dangerous places. He has acquired many ancient skills. We don't know how he got in. When he came out, he was no longer breathing." After Gusu finished speaking, she looked at Yu Yang and said, "Young Master Yu, do you have a way to pass this test? If we can't, then we won't be able to enter the final level." "Miss Gusu, don't be anxious," Yu Yang said. Then he gathered all the experts on the Grim Reaper's side and started to discuss how to deal with the Thunder Devastator beast. Yang Yu introduced the Thunder Devastator beast situation, including its attack patterns and tyrannical features. Then, the experts were allowed to express their opinions and discuss how to suppress or avoid the Thunder Tongue beast to enter the final layer. The Thunder Tamer beast's defense was extremely strong. Even if it just lay there and let Miss Yuan attack it, she might not be able to kill it. Therefore, there was not much meaning in forcefully attacking. When the time came, it would definitely cause a lot of casualties. A group of powerhouses offered their suggestions. Most of the martial artists suggested luring the strange beast away, and then a group of powerhouses would rush into the entrance. There was no problem with the strategy. The problem was, who would lead the Thunder Beast? Who would be able to withstand it? The warriors that would lead the Thunder Devastator Beast would basically die. Yang made up his mind. He looked at the other two powerful warriors and said, "The three of us will lead the beast. The rest of you go with Miss Gusu." A great Emperor Realm warrior suddenly said, "Lord Yu, I will go with you. I have a skill that can slow down the Thunder Devastator Beast." Another great Emperor Realm warrior said, "I will go as well. I can release the psychedelic realm. Maybe it can affect the Thunder Devastator Beast." Qiufeng volunteered to go as well. He said he could build some divine rune formations to see if they could affect the Thunder Devastator Beast. When Miss Yuan heard the discussion, she walked over and said, "I'll go with you to lure the Thunder Beast." "Oh, right. Young Master Lu is so strong and has so many mystiques. Why don't you go with him?" As Lady Yuan spoke, she looked at Lu Li with provocation in her eyes. Many warriors were looking at Lu Li as well. They all knew about Lu Li's deeds, and they were looking forward to his actions. Lu Li smiled lightly and said, "Lady Yuan, don't flatter me. I am only at the Great Emperor Realm. The best I can do is to solve the toxic fog and understand some divine rune formations. I know nothing else. Although the Thunder Torment Beast is strong, it's just an immature, ancient, mutated beast. I think Miss Yuan can easily kill it." Lady Yuan flattered him, and Lu Li flattered him back. Lady Yuan didn't fall for it. She mocked. "Are you a man or not? How come you don't have the guts? Are you so afraid of death?" For a man to be ridiculed by a woman like this, any other man would definitely feel his blood boil and immediately agree. Lu Li smiled lightly and said, "Don't provoke me. It is pointless. I will go with you, but not because of you. I am doing this for the sake of Brother Yu." Yu Yang was grateful. He cupped his fists and said, "Thank you, Brother Lu." Gu Su and Ing Wushuang, the most powerful young master of the Shadow race, walked over and joined the team to lure the Thunder Devastator Beast. Now, Yu Yang was even more confident. But after some thoughts, Yu Yang said to Gu Su and Ing Wushuang, "You are all going to lure the Thunder Devastator Beast, who will go to the last level to get the treasure. Didn't you guys say that your cousin was severely injured when he went in? The last level must be very dangerous. How about you don't go to lure the Thunder Devastator Beast? Go to the last level and get the treasure and come out at once." "No." Gu Su and Ing Wushuang shook their heads. Gu Su said, "Some of our powerful warriors will go in. If they can't get the treasure, it is pointless for us to go in." Since Gu Su and Ing Wushuang had made up their minds, Yu Yang didn't say anything else. The powerful warriors began to set up. Qiufeng was working on divine runes to see if they could trap the ancient beast. Lu Li asked Blood Fairy if she could trap the Thunder Devastator Beast with divine runes. Blood Fairy shook her head and said, "If we do as they said, it will be difficult to trap the Thunder Devastator Beast. But let's do it. At least, it will make our master safer." Lu Li's art of concealment might not be effective against a beast that was close to a warrior at the Consummate Realm. If the beast went berserk and Lady Yuan could not handle it, Lu Li would be in danger without the Holy Mountain. "Master, I will go 3,000 miles to the east. If something goes wrong, run that way." Blood Fairy sent a voice transmission before burrowing into the ground. Lu Li nodded. Anyhow, Blood Fairy was doing the right thing. He didn't care if he could go up or not. What mattered was that he couldn't die here. Third Master. Chapter 3161. After a few hours, Qiufeng set up a few divine rune arrays, an Emperor-rank bewilderment array, and Yu Yang and the others also set up their own arrays. Lady Yuan took out a strange treasure that could trap ferocious beasts and placed it nearby. All the other warriors went to the other side of the mountain. After Yu Yang and the others lured the tongue-lay beast over, they went up to the last level. Okay, wait here. I will go and lure it over. Yu Yang waved his hand. All the powerful warriors were impressed. Yu Yang's courage was commendable. The first one to lure the tongue-lay beast would be attacked by the tongue-lay beast and might even be killed instantly. At this moment, Miss Yuan said proudly, "You stay here, I'll go. With your weak defense, I'm afraid you'll be killed instantly." Sister Yuan, young Master Lu was startled and shouted. But Lady Yuan had already made her way over. The warriors showed their admiration. Even Lu Li had to exclaim to himself that this Lady Yuan was really a tiger. At least, she was courageous, if nothing else. Miss Yuan quickly flew over, and a white armor appeared on her body, covering her whole body. The surface of the armor was covered with faint and densely packed lines. At first glance, one could tell that it was not an ordinary item. It was probably similar to the armor on Miss Li's body, perhaps even stronger. Hiss, hiss, the ancient beast was still snoring. When Lady Yuan was about 2 miles away, a strand of source energy glowed in her hand and formed a ball of light. She smashed it at the tongue-lay beast. Boom! The ball of light hit the tongue-lay beast and exploded, causing it to tremble. The powerful warriors checked with psychic power, only to find that the tongue-lay beast was not hurt at all, not even a mark. Lu Li squinted his eyes. Yu Yang had told him about the Tribulation Thunder Beast. The Tribulation Thunder Beast had incredible defense and strong attacks. Its only weakness was that it wasn't particularly fast. Of course, this was in comparison to the other 10 ancient beasts. Compared to the average ancient beasts, the tongue-lay beast was much stronger. It might be faster than Yu Yang. The Thunder Devastator beast's main mode of attack was the airflow it spat out from its mouth. This wasn't an ordinary airflow, but an airflow with destructive power. This was the Thunder Beast's innate ability. If swallowed by the Thunder Beast, even a powerhouse who was infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm would be refined. The Thunder Menace Beast woke up with a start. It opened its huge eyes and blinked in confusion at first. Then, it suddenly locked its gaze on Miss Yuan. A trace of anger flashed across its huge eyes. It slowly stood up, and its aura continued to rise. It felt like a mountain was pressing down on them, causing the souls of all the experts to tremble. Roar! The Thunder Devastator Beast stood up and roared at the sky. Then, its huge body turned into a blur as it charged toward Miss Yuan. Lady Yuan was not stupid. She immediately turned around and retreated to the side of the spell formation. Yu Yang, Gu Su, and the others quickly retreated and spread out. Qiu Feng, who was standing at the edge of the formation, was the most nervous. He immediately activated the formation when the Thunder Tempest Beast flew over. Buzzing, rays of white light shone from the ground. The white light moved like poisonous snakes, forming an inescapable net. It formed a cage, trapping the giant beast that had just rushed in. Swish, swish, at the same time, smoke rose from underground. Another formation of illusion set up by an Imperial Realm warrior was activated as well. The smoke covered up the beast so that it couldn't be seen from the outside. Attack! Lady Yuan shouted. If they could kill the Thunder Devastator beast, then they could solve the problem once and for all. By then, they could all go to the last level to explore together. Boom, 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 boom. All the powerful warriors began to attack. Lu Li did so as well. But he just took out some divine order chains, and at the same time, he released formations. That being said, he didn't use the purple divine liquid. This was just a response. This was not his business. He was only here to solve the poison fog. He had fulfilled his promise with the god of death. Now, he was purely here to help. The Thunder Devastator beast was so horrifying. How could he not conserve his strength? Boom, boom, boom. From inside came some noises of explosion. Lu Li used the Mark of Tao to check. He was speechless. With so many powerful warriors attacking, the Thunder Devastator beast only had a scratch on its skin. The Thunder Devastator beast was slightly wounded. This included Lady Yuan using her powerful holy weapon to release a powerful killing move. Luli didn't think he could defend against that kind of killing move, and he would be killed instantly. From this, one could tell how strong the Thunder Devastator Beast was. Roar, roar, the Thunder Devastator Beast was wounded. It bellowed in rage. Then, a large amount of white airstream came out from its nose and mouth. The space in front of it was torn apart. The Thunder Devastator Beast dashed forward in a frenzy. It cracked Xiao Feng's divine pattern easily. "Stick to the plan," Yu Yangchen shouted. Instead of moving forward, he stepped back and dashed onto the back of the Thunder Devastator Beast in a blur. Lady Yuan and young Master Lu used their special skills to distract the Thunder Devastator Beast. Gu Su, Ing Wushuang, and the two Sacred Kings of Death were harassing them nearby. "Fall back." Xiao Feng and the several great Emperor Realm warriors stepped back at once. Their plan was pointless. They would die if they stayed here. They might as well go back to the main force. Luli vanished in midair and went into hiding. He didn't leave. Instead, he stayed to observe. He had a good impression of Yu Yangchen. If the time was right, he could lend Yu Yangchen a hand. Phew! The Thunder Devastator Beast spat out two streams of white gas, which spread out for hundreds of kilometers. Wherever it passed, space collapsed. There was a small mountain up ahead that was swept away by the white gas. It was razed to the ground and obliterated. The white airstream is horrifying. Luli's heart skipped a beat. If they were touched by the white airstream, they would be smashed into dust in an instant. They wouldn't be able to survive for more than one breath. Whoosh, 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 Lady Yuan kept moving like a ghost. Her realm was high, and she was fast. She clearly had treasures on her feet that could increase her speed. She also had wings. It would be hard for her to slow down. At the moment, Lady Yuan used her special skill to distract the Thunder Devastator Beast. The Thunder Tamer Beast stared at him with its big eyes and followed him closely. Lu Gongzigu, Su Ing Wushuang, and the others released their attacks to disrupt the Thunder Threat Beast's speed. Yu Yang stood on the Thunder Threat Beast's body and grabbed its mane with one hand. A glove appeared on his other hand, and he constantly smashed the Thunder Threat Beast below him. The Thunder Tempest Beast was besieged by a group of experts, so it was furious. However, Miss Yuan's speed was very good, and her reaction was also very fast. The Thunder Tongue Beast kept spewing out white smoke, but it couldn't hit her. Moreover, Gu Su and the rest didn't release their divine arts to attack it. Instead, they released their divine arts to delay the Thunder Threat Beast. Hence, the Thunder Threat Beast couldn't catch up to Lady Yuan even after chasing for more than 10 breaths of time. Roar! The Thunder Devastator Beast was infuriated. It suddenly stopped and roared. White mist surged out of its body and formed a shockwave. Yu Yang, who was on its back, was sent flying. It roared angrily and sped up. It was several times faster than Lady Yuan. Its eyes shone with a ferocious light, and it completely disregarded Feather Sun Mushroom and the others as it chased after young Lady Yuan with extreme speed. Third Sect Leader. Chapter 3162. Lady Yuan, be careful. Sister Yuan, run. Everyone, attack, or Lady Yuan will be in danger. A series of angry shouts sounded. Miss Yuan was also frightened. However, the Thunder Threat Beast was too fast. Before Miss Yuan could react, the Thunder Threat Beast had already rushed over. It sprayed two streams of white gas that enveloped Miss Yuan. Young Master Lu, Gu Su, and the others' expressions changed drastically. If Lady Yuan died in the hands of the Thunder Menace Beast, how would they explain to the Gue race martial artists? Young Master Lu's face was especially pale. If Lady Yuan died, the elders would definitely scold him like a grandson and might even punish him. At the very least, he would not have a good life in the family. None of the elders would like to see him in the future. They might not even want to see him because he reminded them of Lady Yuan. A scream rang out. Lady Yuan's body turned into a sack and was sent flying. Her battle armor was broken, and the wings on her back were all gone. Her body was covered in blood. There was not a single part of her that was unharmed. Her ribs could even be seen on her back. Not dead? Young Master Lu was stunned and then overjoyed. He started attacking the Thunder Menace beast crazily. Gusu and the others also reacted and attacked the Thunder Menace beast crazily. Young Master Lu released his innate mystical ability, which attracted the Thunder Menace beast's attention. Lady Yuan's innate mystical ability attracted the Thunder Menace beast's attention. Now that Lady Yuan was severely injured, the Thunder Menace beast was naturally attracted to young Master Lu. Roar! The Thunder Menace beast roared and turned to charge at young Master Lu. Young Master Lu was so scared that his soul almost left his body. He knew very well that Lady Yuan's battle armor was personally refined by a patriarch of the family. Its defense was amazing. If this battle armor could not withstand a blow from the Thunder Menace beast, his battle armor would not be able to. Lady Yuan was severely injured now. If he was attacked, he would definitely become a pile of minced meat. At this critical moment, a black pearl appeared in young Master Lu's hand. He suddenly threw the pearl forward. The pearl landed between him and the Thunder Menace beast. The pearl suddenly exploded, tearing a huge black hole in the space there. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying explosion caused a violent shockwave, and several experts nearby were sent flying. Even Miss Gusu was shaken to the point that her blood and chi were in turmoil, and she almost vomited blood. F*CK. Seeing young Master Lu turn into a bolt of lightning and disappear into the distance, a group of experts cursed. Young Master Lu didn't follow the original plan at all. First, it was a sudden attack, catching the group of experts off guard. Then, it escaped, not caring about the lives of the experts. The Thunder Ting beast was forced back dozens of meters. Since young Master Lu had already escaped, it could only lock its gaze on the nearby experts. The closest one was a Saint Emperor, the Grim Reaper. Ayo, ayo! The Thunder Tempest beast roared and rushed over. That Saint Emperor wanted to retreat, but the Thunder Tempest beast spat out 2 streams of white smoke from its nose and mouth. That martial artist immediately let out a blood-curdling scream. Following which, in front of everyone's eyes, that Saint Emperor immediately turned into a blood mist. Not even his bones were left. Terrifying. Luli hid in a corner. It was a ghastly sight. The 10 ancient mutants really did live up to their reputation. An early Saint King had been killed instantly, and it was a completely one-sided slaughter. Run! This time, Gusu and the others did not hesitate. They had to make it out alive. It was impossible to kill the Thunder Tongue Beast. It was impossible to trap the Thunder Tongue Beast. After all, the powerful warriors of the Shadow Race and the Fairy Race had reached the peak. Gusu and the others had accomplished their mission. Now, all of them had to run away. **T. Noticing that the Thunder Tongue Beast was looking at him, Yu Yang panicked and ran away in a frenzy. Seeing that the Thunder Tongue Beast was going after Yu Yang, Luli said at once, "Brother Yu, go to the west. There's a hill over there. I have built some runes there." Hearing that it was Luli, Yu Yang flew to the west in delight. The place where Blood Fairy had built the runes was not far away. Soon, he flew past the hill. Roar, roar, the Thunder Tongue Beast was hot on his trail. Soon, they were close to the hill. Luli told Blood Fairy that the runes were activated. Streaks of red blood shot up and intertwined with each other, forming a huge net that enveloped the Thunder Devastator Beast. Blood Fairy's divine runes were very strong, and the trap formation was also very offensive. As soon as the Thunder Beast came into contact with the red lines, its skin began to smoke, leaving white marks on its skin. It looked like it had been burned. The Thunder Tongue Beast stared at the red lines in fear. It turned around and dashed in another direction. However, it was surrounded by red lines. There was nowhere for it to run. Buzzing, dark fog rose up from the ground. The dark fog was a formation of confusion as well as illusion. The Thunder Tongue Beast could only wander around in the fog instead of charging at the red lines. The trapping formation seemed to be strong. However, if the Thunder Tongue Beast were to charge at it with its body, it could break the formation in dozens of times at most. Blood Fairy was skilled in runes, but she was not strong enough to trap a warrior that was close to the consummate realm. Though the Thunder Tongue Beast was not mature, it was much stronger than Yu Yang and the others. The thunder-tongued beast might be comparable to a warrior that was close to the consummate realm. How could blood fairies trapping formation trap the thunder-tongued beast? Phew, the thunder-tongued beast breathed out white fog, which landed on the red lines. Though the lines did not break right away, Blood Fairy's voice was heard. Master, we cannot hold on any longer. The thunder-tongued beast is too strong. The next time it breathes out, the trapping formation will be broken. *T. Luli made up his mind. He used a drop of purple divine liquid to strengthen his soul by 10 times. He used formations and then took out 10 drops of black fog. He integrated them with his source energy and shot them into the thunder-tongued beast through the red lines. The thunder-tongued beast was too large to dodge. When the source energy hit it, all the poison went into the thunder-tongued beast's body. Roar, roar, the thunder-tongued beast raised its head and bellowed. The sound was earth-shattering. However, the poison did not turn the thunder-tongued beast into a pile of bones like how it would kill a Saint King. Judging by the thunder-tongued beast's reaction, the poison could only hurt the thunder-tongued beast, not kill it. Roar, roar, the thunder-tongued beast bellowed. It was losing its mind. A puff of white fog came out from its nose and mouth. As soon as the fog came out, the red lines collapsed. Luli's heart skipped a beat, seeing how furious the thunder-tongued beast was. If the thunder-tongued beast went berserk, even Yu Yang and the others would die. Let's do it. Luli made up his mind and took out a drop of red poison, one of the 2 drops he had left behind. With each drop, there would be 1 less. Luli didn't want to use it at first. Otherwise, he would have used the red poison instead of regular poison. If Yu Yang were to die, then Luli might be killed by Lady Yuan after he went out. Also, Luli had recognized Yu Yang's character. That was why Luli decided to save him. Master 3. Chapter 3163. There are divine patterns over there. Who set them up? The Thunder Menace beast seems to be trapped. Oh no, the Thunder Menace beast is about to break free. The divine patterns over there can't trap it. Gu Su, Ing Wushuang, and the others had already escaped for a while. When they found the Thunder Menace beast was trapped, they were all overjoyed. However, they were overjoyed when they found that the divine patterns had been broken within seconds. Their lips curled into a bitter smile. The Thunder Menace beast was so enraged. They were probably going to be hunted down to death. There were many ancient species on this level. Even if they managed to escape temporarily, they would be trapped by the ancient species. When the Thunder Menace beast caught up with them, they would be dead without a burial place. Most importantly, most of the martial artists from the 2 clans and the Grim Reaper had already entered the last level. If there was no exit in the last level and they returned, they would be attacked by the Thunder Menace beast. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just as Gu Su was thinking about the martial artist who had entered the last level, she suddenly saw the top of the mountain light up. Following that, figures rushed out one by one, their faces filled with fear. Oh no! Gu Su saw this and became very anxious. The Thunder Menace beast was in a frenzy now. If so many martial artists were targeted by the Thunder Menace beast, they would all die. Why are there only 20 or so? Are the rest all dead? Gu Su glanced at them again, but didn't care so much. She shouted angrily, "Everyone, scatter and escape. The Thunder Menace beast is going berserk. We can't hold it off. Retreat first." Roar, roar, as if responding to Gu Su, the Thunder Menace beast looked up to the sky and roared. It rushed up into the sky, releasing endless murderous aura and anger from its huge body. It kept roaring and spewing out white mist from its nose and mouth, shattering the space in the air. The scene was extremely horrifying. Run! The martial artists who rushed out from the teleportation door were scared silly. They felt like children facing a ferocious beast. At this moment, the Thunder Menace beast's violent and brutal aura made their souls tremble. Something is wrong. Just as Gu Su was about to retreat, she suddenly stopped. This was because she realized that the Thunder Devastator beast had actually flipped in mid-air. Then, its body smashed down heavily, creating a huge crater in the ground. Roar! Moments later, the Thunder Tempest beast soared into the sky once again. It roared and tumbled in midair, spewing out mist that tore the sky apart. Then it suddenly smashed down heavily. Blood is flowing out of the thunder beast's mouth and nose. Gusu's eyes suddenly lit up. She had just realized that the thunder threat beast was spewing blood from its mouth, and it looked like it was in great pain. Most importantly, it discovered that the Thunder Devastator beast's aura was weakening. What did this mean? This meant that the Thunder Melee beast was injured, and its injuries were still worsening. In other words, the Thunder Melee beast was currently enduring a powerful attack. This attack was unbearable and excruciating. Could it be an expert releasing a soul attack? Gusu's divine will immediately scan the surroundings. This situation was very much like the Thunder Devastator beast had suffered a powerful soul attack and was somewhat unable to bear it. Thus, it rolled in midair in pain and did not hesitate to hit its head against the ground. However, Gusu used her spiritual force to scan the surroundings. She realized that Yu Yang and the rest were also looking at the Thunder Tribulation beast in shock. Lady Yuan had already flown away due to her injuries and was not nearby. What happened? Gusu could not figure it out. Neither could Wu Shuang or the other Saint Emperor of Grim Reaper. Only Yu Yang looked toward where the runes were set up, deep in thought. Unfortunately, Lu Li was invisible and Yu Yang could not see where he was. The runes here were set up by Lu Li. The Thunder Devastator beast must be in this state because of Lu Li. Gusu and the others didn't do anything. Only Lu Li could explain the Thunder Devastator beast's strange situation. Brother Lu, is he a backup plan of Emperor Yin? Is he really a super powerful warrior? Yu Yang had his doubts. But Lu Li was not from the god of Grim Reaper. He grew up in the god of Grim Reaper and was the descendant of a powerful warrior. He knew most of the god of Grim Reaper like the back of his hand. Even if Lu Li was a powerful warrior secretly trained by the god of Grim Reaper, Yu Yang would have heard of him. Roar, roar, the Thunder Devastator beast kept howling, rushing up and then smashing down. Blood was coming out of its mouth, nose, and eyes. Its body was tainted red. Its chi and energy were getting weaker and weaker. It seemed to be in pain as if it was being tortured. The 10 ancient beasts are powerful. Lu Li was standing nearby. He looked at the Thunder Devastator beast, not far away, and exclaimed with sincerity. The red liquid was poisonous. Even a Saint King at the later stage of the Thunder Devastator beast would not survive after being poisoned by the liquid. Eventually, it would become a skeleton. First, the Thunder Devastator beast was poisoned by several drops of the liquid. Now, Lu Li had used a drop of the red liquid. How come it was still alive? The Thunder Devastator beast was horribly strong, but it was okay. Even if the Thunder Devastator beast was not dead, it would be badly injured. It could not do much harm to Lu Li and the others. If Lu Li used another drop of the red liquid, the Thunder Devastator beast could be poisoned to death. How about I use some regular poisons to poison this ancient beast to death once and for all? The Thunder Devastator beast was so strong that Lu Li believed it would be hard for Yu Yang and the others to kill it. If the Thunder Devastator beast could recover, it would be troublesome. Master, why do you want to poison it? You could try to tame it. Right at that moment, Blood Fairy suddenly asked. Lu Li was taken aback. He shook his head and said, I don't think so. They will not surrender to such a powerful ancient beast, not to mention that I am only at the Emperor realm. To them, I am no different from a puny insect. You are wrong, Blood Fairy said. Master, you have the poisonous liquid. That is what the Thunder Devastator beast fears the most. Therefore, even if you are a mortal being, the Thunder Devastator beast will be scared of you if you take out the poisonous liquid. How do you know it will not surrender to you if you don't try? Also, it is not an adult yet. That is right. Lu Li slapped his head. He was delighted. He once tamed a beast that was much more powerful than Lu Li. That beast was not an adult yet, so it was easier to tame. Blood Fairy, go and talk to it. Lu Li waved his hand and said, Tell it that if it does not surrender to me, I will poison it to death. Be careful. Don't let the mist touch you. Don't worry. Blood Fairy snuck onto the ground. The Thunder Devastator beast was no longer rolling around. It was lying on the ground, panting, It seemed to be so exhausted that it didn't even have the strength to fly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the distance, Yang Yu and the others gathered together, pointing at the Thunder Devastator beast. They seemed to want to take advantage of the situation, but were afraid that the Thunder Devastator beast would suddenly make trouble. Lu Li moved slowly until he was 3 miles away from the Thunder Devastator beast. He came out with some drops of poisonous liquid in his hand. He stared at the Thunder Devastator beast coldly. What? Young Master Lu, come back. It is dangerous over there. Lu Li's sudden appearance right in front of the Thunder Devastator beast scared Gu Su. She shouted at once. Yang Yu shook his head with a smile. Don't worry about him. If I am right, he is the one who hurt the Thunder Devastator beast. P.S. Chapter 4. Master 3. Chapter 3164. As Lu Li had expected, Blood Fairy and the Tribulation Thunder Beast tried to communicate. As an ancient species, one of the top 10, the Tribulation Thunder Beast had its pride. How could it surrender to a puny human? An emperor at that. To the Tribulation Thunder Beast, Lu Li was nothing but a puny insect. It was like a human being told by a mouse to surrender and become its slave. Would the human be willing? Even if the human was on the verge of death, he wouldn't. Since the Tribulation Thunder Beast was unwilling, then Lu Li had to let it suffer for a while longer. He threw out a strand of origin energy. It seemed to be a weak attack, just an average one. Boom! The attack landed on the Tribulation Thunder Beast, creating a slight explosion. The Tribulation Thunder Beast didn't even tremble a bit. That being said, after a moment, the Tribulation Thunder Beast began to roll around again, screaming at the top of its lungs. This time, the Tribulation Thunder Beast didn't even have the strength to fly up or smash into the ground. It could only roll around on the ground. The red liquid had corroded many parts of the Tribulation Thunder Beast's body. The Tribulation Thunder Beast looked fine on the outside, but it was riddled with holes on the inside. Lu Li's several drops of poison were like pouring salt on the Tribulation Thunder Beast's wounds. What? In the distance, Gu Su and the others looked at each other, speechless. Lu Li didn't do anything. All he did was release an average attack of source energy. How could it be so powerful? It is not an attack of source energy. It might be a soul attack. But is a soul attack that strong? Yu Yang murmured to herself. Lu Li was only 1,000 years old, younger than them. He did not look like a disciple of a wealthy family. There were many humans in the Chaotic Star region, but there were no super families. There were only a few middle-level families. Even if Lu Li was from one of those families, they could not train such a powerful soul warrior. It would be difficult to train a powerful soul warrior unless one's own race was gifted in the aspect of soul. Also, they didn't feel any soul energy fluctuation. It didn't seem like a soul attack. Lu Li had been using the Mark of Doubt a lock on the Tribulation Thunder Beast. He was afraid that the Tribulation Thunder Beast would take desperate measures and attack him. Fortunately, the Thunder Tongue Beast was in so much pain that it wanted to die. It kept rolling on the ground and couldn't attack. After the time it took for 3 incense sticks to burn, the Thunder Devastator Beast finally stopped. It lay on the ground with blood gushing out of its mouth, eyes, and nose. The ground around it was stained red. Lu Li told Blood Fairy to communicate with the Blood Fairy. If the Blood Fairy did not surrender, he would continue to attack. Lu Li also told Blood Fairy to tell the Blood Fairy that the Blood Fairy would return his freedom after 10,000 years. The Tribulation Thunder Beast still refused. Lu Li took out another 5 drops of venomous liquid and released another attack of origin energy. The Tribulation Thunder Beast roared and rolled around again. Yu Yang and the other powerful warriors sneaked over. When they were more than 3 miles behind Lu Li, Yu Yang shouted, "Brother Lu, are you sure you can kill this Tribulation Thunder Beast?" Gu Su chimed in, "Young Master Lu, if you can kill this Thunder Devastator Beast, please kill it. After killing the Thunder Tongue Beast, they would be completely safe." Just now, so many powerful warriors went into the last level, but only a score came out. Therefore, Gu Su wanted to kill the Thunder Devastator Beast so that all the other powerful warriors could go to the last level. Otherwise, It would be pointless for them to come here. Luli did not turn around. He just said, "Don't be impatient. Give me some time. I will try my best." This time, the Thunder Devastator beast spat out more blood. After the time for several incense sticks to burn, Luli took out another bottle of venomous liquid. This time, he told the Thunder Devastator beast to say that it would follow him for 1,000 years and he would return its freedom. If not, then he would kill the Thunder Devastator beast. First, it was 10,000 years, and now it would be 1,000 years. This was Luli's strategy. If the Thunder Devastator beast was still unwilling, then he would say 500 years. If not, then he would say 100 years. 100 years was Luli's bottom line. If the Thunder Devastator beast was unwilling, then he would have to use some venomous liquid to kill the Thunder Devastator beast. For the Thunder Devastator beast, 1,000 years was nothing. Ancient beasts could live a long life. They could live for 1,000,000 years. Luli waited patiently. This time, the Thunder Devastator beast was hesitant. It was not in a hurry to reply. After the time for one incense stick to burn, Luli did not give the Thunder Devastator beast time to think. He poured out his source energy and went on attacking. Roar, roar, the Thunder Devastator beast rolled around on the ground, howling. Blood was still coming out from its nose and mouth. It was extremely weak. After a while, the Thunder Devastator beast stopped moving. It was just trembling. After the time for several incense sticks to burn, Luli asked Blood Fairy to send another message. This time, the time was shortened to 500 years. After a moment, Blood Fairy said, "Master, it said yes." Good. Luli was overjoyed. This was one of the 10 ancient beasts, the Thunder Devastator beast. He could tame one. This Thunder Devastator beast was not an adult yet, and its abilities were not as good as warriors that were close to the consummate realm. It would be hard for the Thunder Devastator beast to grow up in 500 years. But in the future, as long as he did not run into warriors that were close to the consummate realm, he would have nothing to fear. He told Blood Fairy to tell the Thunder Devastator beast to build a Seal of Soul according to Luli's instructions. As long as the Seal of Soul was under Luli's control, the Thunder Devastator beast's life and death would be in his hands. As long as he destroyed the Seal of Soul, the Thunder Devastator beast would die at once. Luli would have a spiritual connection with the Thunder Devastator beast after he dissolved the Seal of Soul. Buzzing, after a moment, a ray of golden light came out from between the Thunder Devastator beast's eyebrows. The Thunder Devastator beast vanished into Luli's mind. It was so fast that Yang Yu and the others could not see it clearly. What? The group of powerful warriors blinked and looked at Luli in confusion. Yang sent a message to Luli. "Brother Lu, are you okay?" Luli waved his hand and closed his eyes to dissolve the Seal of Soul. The powerful warriors were nervous. Was Luli attacked by the Thunder Devastator beast? After the time for half an incense stick to burn, Luli opened his eyes, filled with joy. He walked toward the Thunder Devastator beast. Yu Yang and the others were slightly startled. Yu Yang shouted, "Little brother Lu, what are you trying to do? The Thunder Devastator beast is not dead yet. Don't go over." Lady Gusu said as well, "Young Master Lu, don't be careless. If the Thunder Devastator beast breathes out mist, you will be in danger." Luli waved his hand without looking back and walked toward the Thunder Devastator beast with determination. The powerful warriors behind him held their breaths. They looked at Luli nervously. The Thunder Devastator beast seemed to be dying, but could turn Luli into a mist of blood if it breathed out mist. The god of death, a saint king, died in an instant after being hit. Luli didn't mind. Soon, he reached the Thunder Devastator beast right in front of its head. The Thunder Devastator beast's mouth was right in front of Luli. As soon as the Thunder Devastator beast opened its mouth and breathed out mist, Luli would be smashed into pieces. Bang, bang, bang. Many warriors' hearts were pounding. They held their breaths. In the distance, some of the great Emperor Realm warriors were sweating. They stared at Luli, fearing that he would turn into a mist of blood in the next second. At that moment, Luli did something that left everyone dumbfounded. He reached out a hand and patted the Thunder Tamer beast's face, which was stuck to the ground. He looked like he was patting his own pet. Third Master. Chapter 3165. Not long ago, all the powerful warriors felt they could not defeat the horrifying beast. They didn't even know if they could run away from it. Now it was lying on the ground, and its face was being touched like a pet. More importantly, there was a hint of fawning in the Thunder Beast's eyes. Everyone was stunned. Then Luli took out some elixirs and shook it. The Thunder Beast opened its mouth. Luli threw the elixirs into its mouth. The Thunder Beast chewed on it and closed its eyes. Luli didn't move. He stood next to it and closed his eyes as well. He was using the trace of Tao to sense the injuries of the Thunder Beast. He didn't want the Thunder Beast to die. It's okay. Luli nodded after a while. The Tribulation Thunder Beast body was strong. Even though it was riddled with holes on the inside, it could recover quickly. After Luli fed it some elixirs, the Tribulation Thunder Beast was recovering quickly. Luli turned around and walked over to Yu Yang and the others. They must have a lot of questions. Luli was in a good mood, and he was more confident. He was not afraid of anything. Whoosh! When Luli was next to Yu Yang, a man flew over from the distance. Before the man arrived, he had sensed with psychic power. Then someone shouted in surprise, "Well, the Thunder Beast is badly injured? What are you waiting for? Let's kill this beast together." Whoosh! As soon as she finished her words, the woman had flown over. She was filled with killing intent. She had a sword in her hand and was ready to attack from a distance. "Stop!" Luli shouted at once. Yu Yang noticed something was wrong as well. He shouted, "Lady Yuan, wait." "What is it?" Lady Yuan stopped and looked over. Her eyes were filled with confusion and anger. She was almost killed by the Thunder Beast. She had only recovered a bit on the surface, but the injury was still serious. She had wanted to come back and see if something was wrong. But now the Thunder Beast was badly injured. How could she not seek revenge? Her heart was filled with killing intent. Now, Luli, whom she disliked, was stopping her? How could she not be angry? Yang didn't know where to start. He looked at Luli. Luli thought about it and said, "You cannot kill the Thunder Beast. Why not?" Lady Yuan interrupted Lu Li's words and said without any trace of politeness, "Do you think this Thunder Beast belongs to your family? Right now, the Thunder Devastator Beast is at its weakest. It will take a lot of effort to kill it after it recovers." Lu Li touched his nose and said, "I am sorry. This Thunder Beast does belong to my family. Now it is my pet." Ha ha ha. Miss Yuan looked as if she had heard the funniest joke in the world. She laughed so hard that tears were about to fall from her eyes. She shook her head and said, "I have seen many shameless people, but I have never seen someone as shameless as you." Luli rolled his eyes speechlessly. He had an idea and said, "How about we bet another 10 billion celestial stones?" Another bet? Lady Yuan instinctively raised her guard. On the other side, Lady Gu Su hurriedly transmitted her voice to Lady Yuan. "Lady Yuan, don't gamble anymore." This Thundertongue Beast was suppressed by young Master Lu. I think the Thundertongue Beast might have been subdued by him. What? Lady Yuan's pupils contracted. She thought she had seen a ghost in broad daylight. She looked Luli up and down. He didn't look like a super powerful warrior. Even she was no match for the Thunder Devastator Beast. It meant that in order to suppress this ancient beast, one must be a powerful warrior that was infinitely close to the consummate realm. How could Luli be such a powerful warrior? If he were, he would have been famous all over the world. No way, it is impossible. Lady Yuan shook her head, still in disbelief. Unless you can let the Thunder Devastator Beast walk a few steps. Luli threw her a casual glance and said, "Believe it or not." With that said, Luli turned to Lady Yuan and Ing Wu Shuang and said, "This floor is done. You can go to the next one." "I will not go. The Thunder Devastator Beast needs time to recover." "Don't worry. The Thunder Devastator Beast will not attack you anymore." Lady Yuan was enraged by Lu Li's attitude. She flew over in a threatening manner, as if she was going to teach Lu Li a lesson. Lu Li threw her a glance. He had an idea and gave the Thunder Devastator Beast an order. Now that he had established a spiritual connection with the Thunder Devastator beast, he could send orders directly. When Lady Yuan flew over, the Thunder Devastator beast suddenly flew up and roared at her. Lady Yuan was not far from the thunder-taming beast. She was so frightened by the roar that her delicate body trembled. Her armor had been destroyed. If the thunder-taming beast had breathed mist at her, she would have died on the spot. Her beautiful face turned pale, and her delicate body trembled. She immediately turned around and flew into the distance. Yu Yang, Lady Yuan, and the others took out their weapons and were ready to attack as well. Lu Li said at that moment, "Don't be nervous. I'm just kidding. Little Thunder, go down and lie down." Lu Li waved his hand and waved to the Thunder Devastator beast. The Thunder Devastator beast flew down and lay on the ground to heal its wounds. Even though Lu Li had given him some elixirs to help him recover a bit, his internal injuries were still serious. It was Lu Li's order that forced him to fly up. Yu Yang and the others looked at the Thunder Devastator beast and clicked their tongues in wonder. Such a ferocious ancient beast was so obedient like a pet. This was an eye-opener for them. In the distance, Lady Yuan came to her senses as well. She was both shocked and angry. She was shocked that Lu Li had really tamed the ancient beast. She had wanted to bring it back to her race. She was angry that Lu Li had made a fool of her and humiliated her. Lu Li wanted to bet 10 billion with her. If it were not for Lady Gusu's reminder, she would have lost another 10 billion. On this thought, Lady Yuan's eyes were burning with anger. She clenched her teeth, wishing she could skin Lu Li alive. Lu Li ignored Lady Yuan completely. Now that he had the Thunder Devastator beast, he was not afraid of Lady Yuan anymore. He looked at Lady Gusu again and said, "You can talk about how to get to the next level. Don't worry about this one. The other ancient beasts will not dare to come here with the Thunder Devastator beast here." "Thank you, young Master Lu." Gusu walked over with a group of powerful warriors and bowed to Lu Li. Yu Yang bowed as well and said, "Brother Lu, I owe you my life." "You are welcome." Lu Li returned the salute with a smile. Then he walked to the Thunder Beast and sat down with his legs crossed. He didn't care about Yu Yang, Gusu, and the others anymore. Clearly, he didn't want to get involved. Gusu and the others gathered together and began to ask the martial artists about entering the final floor. The other side immediately began to chatter. Lady Yuan flew over and asked Gusu about Lu Li's experience in taming the Tribulation Thunderbeast. Gusu told Lady Yuan about what happened, and Gusu told Lady Yuan everything she saw. Lady Yuan felt she was listening to a fairy tale. She stayed silent for the time, for one incense stick to burn after she heard everything. Then she walked over to Lu Li. When she was 2 miles away from Lu Li, she said, "Lu, how about we make a deal? How about you sell this Thunder Menace beast to me? Name your price." Third sect leader. Chapter 3166. Sell it to you? Lu Li was surprised. This Lady Yuan was a weirdo. She wanted to buy the Thunder Beast. Did she think it was a real, mystical pet that she could buy whenever she wanted? Lu Li looked at her with a faint smile and said, "Name your price. If you are satisfied, we can negotiate." Lady Yuan's eyes glowed. She replied, "How about 100 billion? You could buy many treasures at this price. If you are lucky, you can reach the Saint Emperor realm easily." Lu Li only smiled. After a moment of silence, he asked, "How was the Thunder Beast compared to you?" Lady Yuan didn't understand why Lu Li asked this question. She answered, "It is stronger than me for now, but I will be stronger in the future. You are young and you have a lot of room for growth. But nobody can guarantee that you can continue to make breakthroughs, right?" Lu Li said, "But this Thunder Beast is not yet mature. When it grows up, it will be as powerful as a warrior close to the perfection. Am I right?" "Yes, you are right," Lady Yuan refuted. "But I have more room for growth than the Thunder Beast. My forefather said that as long as I work hard, I will become a warrior close to the perfection of the Thunder Beast." "Okay." Lu Li shrugged and said, "Let's say you have the same potential as the Thunder Beast. If I offer 100 billion celestial stones to your family to buy you, do you think they will do it? PFF. Lady Yuan spat and said, I am not a beast. How can I be bought and sold? No, Luli, you are scolding me indirectly. Are you calling me a beast? Haha, I didn't say that. Luli laughed and said, You are asking for 100 billion for an ancient beast that is as powerful as a warrior close to the perfection of the Thunder Beast? Aren't you a little too naive? Then how much do you want? Lady Yuan said with a dark face. If Luli was willing to sell it, the Gui race would be willing to pay 200 or 300 billion. After all, this was a beast that could protect the race. Ancient beasts could live a long life, and they could protect their race for millions of years. I don't want celestial stones. Luli shook his head and said, Celestial stones cannot buy the real good stuff. Do you think I don't know that? Then what do you want? Miss Yuan thought about it and said, What kind of treasure do you want? You can tell me. As long as our race has it, we can discuss it. Your clan has what I want, Luli said with a smile. Then he sized up Lady Yuan and said, I want you. If the Duan race is willing to marry you to me, I will give you this Tribulation Thunder Beast as a betrothal gift. Bah, are you dreaming? Miss Yuan's pretty face turned red, and she said angrily, You want to marry me? You are a toad lusting after a swan's flesh. Go to hell. As the young lady of the Gui clan, she had been gifted since she was young. Lady Yuan had always suppressed the younger generation of the Gui clan, and there had never been a young Gui who could surpass her. That was why she was so proud. She had thought about marrying, but for so many years, no one in the entire chaotic starfields was more talented than her, so she didn't like any of them. For so many years, geniuses from various races had surrounded her like carps in the river. There were at least 80 geniuses like Yu Yang, but she didn't like any of them. His talent and battle prowess couldn't even compare to a woman like her. What right did he have to gain her favor? Now, Luli, a warrior of the Emperor realm, a man she hated, wanted to marry her? Was he daydreaming? A Tribulation Thunder Beast wanted to marry her? Was he going to trade the Tribulation Thunder Beast for her? Did he think she was equal to the Tribulation Thunder Beast? No. Lady Yuan suddenly realized that Luli seemed to have compared her to an animal. Was he calling her an animal again? She looked at Luli angrily. Seeing the faint smile on Luli's face, she understood. Luli had never thought about selling the Tribulation Thunder Beast. He was just messing around with her, treating her like a monkey. Okay. She said with her teeth clenched, Lu, you better pray that you don't fall in my hands, or else I will teach you a lesson. Luli was not afraid at all. He said with a smile, If I were you, I wouldn't say something so stupid. What if I kill you in a fit of anger? Do you think it is difficult for me to kill you? Kill me, Lady Yuan yelled. Kill me if you have the guts. Let's see if my race will wipe out your entire family. A glint of anger rose in Luli's eyes. The Tribulation Thunder Beast suddenly dashed over and reached Lady Yuan in an instant. Then it opened its mouth and roared. Lady Yuan didn't even have time to react when the Tribulation Thunder Beast was coming. She was already badly injured, and her reflexes were weakened, not to mention that the Tribulation Thunder Beast was so close to her. Seeing the Tribulation Thunder Beast coming, seeing the Tribulation Thunder Beast's huge mouth, and sensing the horrifying chi and energy from it, Lady Yuan's legs became weak, and she fell to the ground. The Tribulation Thunder Beast stopped about 10 feet in front of Lady Yuan. The stench from its huge mouth almost made Lady Yuan pass out. A beautiful lady lying on the ground and a ferocious beast roaring in front of her was a shocking scene. Everyone was stunned. Yu Yang and Gu Su were paying attention as well. They knew that Lu Li and Lady Yuan had been communicating with each other. But the Tribulation Thunder Beast suddenly acted up. Lady Yuan was so scared that she collapsed to the ground. Young Master Lu, Lady Gu Su shouted at once. Yu Yang also said, Brother Lu, don't be rash. Misunderstanding. Lu Li stood up with a smile. Then he glared at the Tribulation Thunder Beast and said, You bastard. What are you shouting for? Look, Lady Yuan is so scared that she peed herself. Go back, bastard. The Tribulation Thunder Beast stepped back quickly. Luli looked at Lady Yuan with a smile and said, "Lady Yuan, are you okay? My pet is not sensible. Please forgive me." Lady Yuan was so ashamed and angry that she almost burst into tears. She stared at Lu Li with reddened eyes and then flew away, covering her face. Luli was so mean. He scolded her indirectly and used vulgar words like "peed myself." Lady Yuan was so ashamed that she wanted to die. How could she have the face to stay here? Miss Susu rolled her eyes. Yu Yang and the others wanted to laugh, but they didn't dare to. They could only rub their noses awkwardly and hold back their laughter. Yu Yang thought for a moment, then walked over and said, "Little brother Lu, you've really offended this young lady. When we get out of here, she'll definitely do everything she can to get back at you." Ha ha ha. Lu Li smiled. He was not worried at all. The Gooies would not go to war over such a small matter, would they? As long as it wasn't a powerhouse that was infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm, what did he have to fear? He thought for a moment and suddenly had an idea. "All right, brother Yu, what are the requirements for joining the Grim Reaper? Can I join the Death God? You want to join Grim Reaper?" Yu Yang was taken aback. He had been suspecting that Lu Li was sent by Emperor Yan. Now, Lu Li wanted to join the Grim Reaper? He paused for a moment and said with a face full of joy, "Brother Lu, if you really want to join us, the Grim Reaper will be more than happy. I guess the elders will directly give you the treatment of the trump card of the Grim Reaper." Third Sect Leader. Chapter 3167. There was a strict hierarchy in the Grim Reaper. The hierarchy represented the treatment and status of the Grim Reaper. Usually, the Grim Reaper was divided into 3 levels: gold, silver, and bronze. Bronze was the lowest level. Many intelligence agents were at the bronze level. Even at the bronze level, they could still get some resources from the Grim Reaper every year. After all, the Grim Reaper could earn many celestial stones every year. At the same time, the Grim Reaper secretly controlled many territories. The Golden Gray Grim Reaper was the ceiling of the average Grim Reaper. Take Yu Yang, for example. He was strong and had a high status, but he could only be treated as a Golden Gray Grim Reaper. Above the Golden Grade was the trump card of the Grim Reaper. As the name suggested, this was the trump card of the Grim Reaper. Every one of them had powerful abilities and were famous figures. Without the Tribulation Thunder Beast, Lu Li would be a Golden Gray Grim Reaper at best. But with the Tribulation Thunder Beast, things were different. It meant that Lu Li's comprehensive abilities were close to a warrior at the Consummate Realm. Lu Li was not joking. He really wanted to join the Grim Reaper. Unlike other forces and families, the Grim Reaper was a relatively loose organization. As long as one joined the Grim Reaper, he would be protected by it. Also, he could cultivate in the treasured lands occupied by the Grim Reaper. He could take on tasks to earn celestial stones and trade them for treasures inside the Grim Reaper. Lu Li didn't dare to leave the Chaotic Star region for the time being. He didn't really want to leave either. The Chaotic Star region had too many resources. Cultivating here would yield twice the result with half the effort. After Lu Li joined the Grim Reaper, he could mobilize some average Saint Kings to sneak into the Middle King realms and secretly monitor and protect them. He could even relocate all the Lu family members and hide them in the realms controlled by the Grim Reaper. Therefore, there were many benefits to joining the Grim Reaper without too many restrictions. This was the lifestyle that Lu Li liked. "Let's talk about it later," Lu Li said with a smile. "When we finish this task and go to the Skycross City, we can talk to the founding fathers of the Grim Reaper." Yu Yang nodded. As long as Lu Li was willing to join, everything else was not a problem. There was no hurry. They could talk about it after the task was finished. Yu Yang and the other warriors of the Grim Reaper looked at Lu Li in a softer way. After all, if Lu Li joined, he would be one of them. Not to mention that Lu Li was so powerful that he could tame the Tribulation Thunder Beast. Killing and taming were 2 different concepts. Taming an ancient xenogeneic like this was not an easy task. The Thunder Devastator Beast recovered quickly. Gusu and the others were also asking the group of martial artists who had entered the last floor about what had happened inside. When the warriors talked about what happened inside, All of their faces turned pale, and their eyes were filled with fear. They were not far away from Luli, so he could hear their conversation. Luli listened for a while and was left speechless. Because so many experts had entered, they only had time to stabilize their footing before they saw groups of martial artists being killed. Fortunately, they reacted quickly and immediately entered the portal. Otherwise, they would have all been killed. What attacked them wasn't the divine pattern, but a tail covered in light green scales. They didn't even see what kind of monster had attacked them. All they saw was a tail. The Shadow Clan and the elves at the very front were all mid-saint kings. In other words, a mid-stage saint emperor was instantly killed by a single sweep of its tail. What did this mean? It meant that the beasts inside were at least as powerful as the Thunder Devastator beast. That was the last floor. The ancient Xenogeneic, and there might be more powerful than the Thunder Devastator beast. The Thunder Devastator beast was a juvenile of one of the 10 ancient Xenogeneic beasts. Based on this, there might be an adult one on the last floor. Hiss, all the powerful warriors gasped at this conclusion. They couldn't handle a juvenile of one of the 10 ancient Xenogeneic beasts. Now, there was an adult one. Could they defeat it? Would they all die in there? Gu Su and the others were scared. Yu Yang frowned. Ing Wushuang was having a headache. After a while, Gu Su used a special jade talisman to send a message back to her clan, reporting what they had found. An hour later, the jade talisman in Gu Su's hand glowed. She took a look and turned pale. She looked at Ing Wushuang and said, "The family leaders of our 2 races have sent a message. We must get the treasure, even if we have to die in there." Powerful warriors of the 2 races looked awful. The family leaders of the 2 races had given a death order. Either they would die in there, or they would get the treasure. Yu Yang and the others looked awful as well. They had been protecting Gu Su and the others. As long as Gu Su and the others did not die or leave, they had to protect them. Otherwise, it would be a breach of contract. Many warriors of the god of death had gone in, and more than half of them were dead. If they died as well, then it would be a great loss. Most of the powerful warriors of the young generation of the god of death were here. Whoosh! 2 people came from the distance. It was Lady Yuan and young Master Lu. Lady Yuan glared at Lu Li, who was not far away. Then, she went to Gu Su and asked about the situation on the last floor. Of course, they wanted to know if they had seen the remains of their ancestors on the last floor. "I think there is." A warrior suddenly remembered something and said, "I think I saw a skeleton in the corner of the hall. The skeleton must have been there for some time. It has turned yellow." Lady Yuan and young Master Lu looked at each other with joy in their eyes. They were here to find the remains of their ancestor, a direct ancestor of their bloodline. But Lady Yuan and young Master Lu's expressions darkened when Gu Su told them about the situation inside. The key point was that the powerful warriors were killed in an instant. Lady Yuan had thought that she could do whatever she wanted with her abilities. Now, she was not so confident anymore. Not long ago, she was almost killed by the Tribulation Thunder Beast. Now, there was something more horrifying than the Tribulation Thunder Beast on the last floor. How could she dare to show herself? The group of powerful warriors gathered together and discussed for more than 2 hours. Still, they couldn't come up with anything. In the end, all the powerful warriors turned their attention to Lu Li. Only by relying on Lu Li could they have the courage to go to the last floor. Lu Li had the Tribulation Thunder Beast, which was well known for its defense. So many powerful warriors had attacked it, but they only managed to scratch its skin. If Lu Li could go in first and let the Tribulation Thunder Beast stand in front of them, then they wouldn't have to face the attacks of the beast. They would have a way to get the treasure, and Lady Yuan would have a chance to take away the remains of their ancestor. Lu Li was sitting with his legs crossed with his eyes closed, but he could sense what was going on. He opened his eyes and saw that all the warriors were looking at him. Rolling his eyes, Lu Li said, "Don't even think about doing anything to me. I made a deal with the god of death to dissolve the toxic fog. I have helped you enough. The last floor is so horrifying. I don't want to die. I am just a warrior of the Emperor Realm. Don't count on me." Emperor Realm. The group of powerful warriors touched their noses in embarrassment. Luli's joke was not funny at all. Could a warrior of the Emperor realm tame a tribulation thunderbeast? Could a warrior of the Emperor realm be that powerful? Gusu pouted and said, "Young Master Lu, please help us. You can name whatever you want. As long as you can help us get that treasure, we are willing to pay any price. That includes me. P.S. Another year has passed. Tomorrow is the Lunar New Year. I wish you all a happy Lunar New Year and everything goes well in the new year." Last year, he wrote more than 2 million words. He was neither diligent nor lazy. After a busy year, he asked for leave for half a month. On the 15th of the first lunar month, he would resume the regular updates. At the same time, he would sort out the rest of the plot. This year, the Undying Realm would finish the book and try to write a perfect ending. Bow and thank him and have a happy Lunar New Year. Well, he forgot to mention that it was not that he wouldn't update during the Lunar New Year. There would be one chapter every day. Third Master. Chapter 3168. The more influential a young lady was, the more she would pay attention to her appearance and reputation. She was not only representing herself, but also her race. Therefore, young ladies of big families were usually reserved. They would not say or do anything that crossed the line easily. It was rare to see someone like Gusu who said such bold words in front of so many young masters and young ladies. Gusu was not a promiscuous young lady. She had always been a role model for young ladies of respectable families. Gusu could have transmitted her voice, but she said it out loud in front of everyone. This was to show her determination. As long as Luli nodded, Gusu would marry no one else but him. The elven race was not a super race, but they were much stronger than the blood race. There were two powerful warriors that were close to the consummate realm. They were quite famous in this area. The elven race had outstanding appearance. Gusu was one of the best of the elven race. It was not appropriate to describe her as beautiful. Also, Gusu had a good personality. She was Lu Li's type. If it were anyone else, they would have been overjoyed and said yes right away. Lu Li, on the other hand, said nothing. There was no emotion on his face. He had never been a fan of political marriages. Most importantly, he didn't like the feeling of being used. If he married Gusu, then he would be tied to the chariot of the elven race. By then, he would become a hired thug of the elven race, and his existence would be dependent on them. If it was just for fun, then it wouldn't matter. But how could a young lady like Gusu be fooled around? The elven race would not let it go. He could not fool around with this young lady. If he did, he would have to take responsibility. Therefore, Luli ignored what Gusu said. He was thinking about whether he should make a move or not. He was not thinking about Gusu, but Yu Yang. He was ready to join the Grim Reaper. Yu Yang was the descendant of a big shot. Yu Yang owed Luli his life. If Yu Yang could go back, then his days in the Grim Reaper would not be too hard. If Yu Yang died, then the favor would be meaningless. On the contrary, because of Yu Yang's death, his days in the Grim Reaper would not be easy. The Devastator Thunder Beast's defense was strong, more than just strong. If Luli went in first and let the Devastator Thunder Beast out, it should be able to hold on for some time. If he could hold on for some time, then it would be easy to collect the treasures and the remains. As long as he collected the treasures and remains, he would be able to teleport out immediately. Luli turned to Yu Yang, who had a bitter expression on his face. Yu Yang didn't seem to be begging Luli, which actually made Luli feel better about him. Yu Yang must be in a dilemma. On the one hand, he wanted Luli to help, but on the other, he was afraid of getting Luli into trouble. Luli stayed silent for the time for one incense stick to burn while all the warriors stared at him. Then he looked up and said, "I can do it, but I have a lot of conditions. I am afraid you can't accept them." Gusu and Wushuang Yuan's eyes lit up. Gusu hurriedly said, "Young Master Lu, please tell us. As long as we can do it, we'll do our best." Luli said with a smile, "First of all, Lady Yuan's 20 billion must be honored. If she doesn't, then the elf race and the shadow race will honor it. Secondly, the two of you must give me another 10 billion. According to the agreement, I was only responsible for dispelling the poisonous fog. You know this. Thirdly, I will only let the Thunder Tamer beast hold on for 10 breaths of time. Whether you succeed or not, I will retreat immediately. This, Gu Su and Ing Wushuang looked at each other in shock. They didn't expect that Lu Li's conditions would be so generous. He only made them pay 10 billion. Even Lady Gu Su couldn't compare to 10 billion celestial stones. If such a talented lady were to spread the word, many young masters would come to propose marriage with tens of billions. What do you mean? Lady Yuan was enraged. She glared at Lu Li and said, "Are you afraid that I'll go back on my word? I am a young lady of the Dun race. How can I go back on my word?" "Ha ha." Lu Li smiled lightly and said, "I am afraid that you will go back on your word. Your conduct is not as good as Lady Gu Su's." "You." Lady Yuan flew into a rage. She was filled with murderous intent. Lu Li didn't care. He glanced at Lady Yuan and said, "One more word and I will not go up. I will let your ancestors' remains stay up there forever." "Phew, phew." Lady Yuan was about to explode with anger, but she didn't dare to say anything. She breathed heavily, wishing she could skin Lu Li alive. "No problem." Gu Su thought about it and sent a message to Ing Wushuang. She nodded and said, "Young Master Lu, we agree to your 3 conditions. How about we write down a contract?" "No, no." Lu Li waved his hand generously and said, "The elf race and the shadow race have a good reputation. Also, I trust Lady Gu Su and young Master Wushuang." Lu Li's words made Lady Yuan furious again. There would be no harm if there was no comparison. Her status and abilities were not at the same level as Gu Su and Ing Wushuang. But Lu Li trusted them and didn't trust her at all. Lu Li was not being generous. He couldn't afford to offend the Dun race or the Grim Reaper. The Elf race and the Shadow race, on the other hand, could afford to offend the Grim Reaper. They were afraid that the Grim Reaper would seek revenge. Therefore, they wouldn't be short of celestial stones. An agreement was reached. Lu Li waved his hand and said, "Let's have some rest. The Tribulation Thunder Beast needs some time to heal. I think it will take at least half a month. We will go up when the Tribulation Thunder Beast is fully recovered." "That long?" Lady Yuan couldn't wait. "You can go earlier if you want." Lu Li reached out his hand with a smile and said, "Give me hundreds of top-level healing pellets. This way, the Tribulation Thunder Beast can recover faster." "Lady Yuan, your forefather is up there. You have to do something, right?" Lady Yuan's expressions changed. Lu Li asked for hundreds. She had the best pellets, but they were all top-level ones. She didn't want to give him hundreds. "What?" Lu Li rolled his eyes and said, "You are a young lady of the Dun race. You can't even give me hundreds of pellets? You can't even give me hundreds of pellets so that your forefather can return to his ancestral shrine? You descendants are really unfilial." Buzzing, the ring on Lady Yuan's hand glowed as she took out hundreds of jade boxes. She threw them over and said coldly, "Feed it now so that it can recover and go up." "Okay." Lu Li put them away with a smile. He opened several jade boxes and found that the pellets were of a higher level than his. He smiled from ear to ear. He only took out a few divine herbs and a few dozen divine herbs of his own to feed the Thunder-tongued beast. In front of so many warriors, Lu Li swindled most of the pellets given by Lady Yuan. The Tribulation Thunder Beast could recover quickly. It had been fed with so many pellets, and the effect was enough. It would be a waste to feed him more. Naturally, Lu Li would not waste the precious pellets given by Lady Yuan. Lady Yuan was about to say something when young Master Lu stopped her. They were lucky that Lu Li didn't blackmail them. If they said too much and angered Lu Li, he would ask for another 10 billion celestial stones. Should they give it to him or not? Lu Li paid no more attention to them. He sat down and waited quietly. In just 5 days, he felt the Tribulation Thunder Beast's wounds were all healed. The Tribulation Thunder Beast was not in a hurry to set off. After another 5 days, he stood up and said, "Are you ready? If so, we can go at any time. P.S. New Year, new atmosphere. Happy New Year, book fans. Everything goes well. Master 3." Chapter 3169. The powerful warriors didn't have much to prepare except for the fact that they were prepared to die in there. Masters of the fairy race and the shadow race had sent a message telling them to either take the treasure or die in there. Since the warriors of the two races had to go in, then Yu Yang and the others must go in as well. As for Lady Yuan and young Master Lu, they were powerful and confident. At least, they wouldn't die before all the warriors died. After a while, Lu Li walked toward the entrance with the Tribulation Thunder Beast. Lady Yuan suddenly thought of something and asked, "The Tribulation Thunder Beast is so big. How can we get to the last level?" Lu Li threw her a glance, but didn't answer. He waved his hand. The Tribulation Thunder Beast glowed and shrank to the size of a human being. "Let's go." Lu Li led the way with the Tribulation Thunder Beast, followed by Lady Yuan and Yu Yang and Gu Su. At the top of the mountain, Lu Li used the dragon transformation and became a dragon man. He also used the dragon absorbing skill. His chi and blood were shocking. The powerful warriors were surprised. Wasn't Lu Li a human? How come he could transform? Why was his chi and blood so horrifying? No, he is a human. Gu Su came to her senses soon and murmured, "This is a skill of his. It must have strengthened his body by at least 10 times. Buzzing. Then Lu Li's body glowed, and then he disappeared completely. Psychic power and chi and energy could not be sensed. There was not even a trace of fluctuation in space. Impressive, the powerful warriors exclaimed. Lu Li said, "Follow the Tribulation Thunder Beast. I will be right behind you." The Tribulation Thunder Beast walked up quickly. Soon, they arrived at the top of the mountain. Lu Li stopped the Tribulation Thunder Beast and waited for all the Saint Kings to come up. None of the Saint Kings came this time. They would be courting death if they did. It was unnecessary. "Are you ready?" Lu Li asked. After getting confirmation, he shouted, "Let's go." The Tribulation Thunder Beast dashed into the portal first. After a white glare, the Tribulation Thunder Beast went in. The portal glowed, and Lu Li went in, followed by Lady Yuan. Yu Yang and the others followed. Lu Li had said that he could only stay for the time for 10 breaths. If the powerful warriors didn't seize the chance, Lu Li would be teleported out after that. Lu Li felt a white glare, and then he found himself in a hall. It was a large hall with a ceiling of more than 2 miles. There were many stone pillars around the hall. There was a haze in many places of the hall, making it look dreamy and dreamy. Treasure. As soon as Lu Li came out, he saw a stone box in the middle of the hall. The stone box was engraved with dense runes. It looked simple and unadorned. One look, and Lu Li could tell that it was a piece of treasure. The stone box was large and dazzling. Lu Li only took one look before he heard a noise coming from the distance. Then, a cyan shadow flashed by midair. That cyan shadow reached the Thunder Beast in an instant. Roar! The thunder-tongued beast let out a furious roar, and its body quickly grew larger. A white mist sprayed out of its mouth and nose, shooting straight at its huge green tail. Boom! A loud muffled sound echoed, and the Thunder Devastator Beast was sent flying, drenched in blood. At the same time, many of the scales on the green tail shattered, revealing greenish-red blood. Buzzing, 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 many people rushed in. Gu Su, Ing Wushuang, and Yu Yang all stared at the stone box in the middle. Lady Yuan and young Master Lu, on the other hand, looked at a skeleton in the corner. "It belongs to our forefather." Lady Yuan's eyes glowed as soon as she took one look. The skeleton of the Guam race was different from the average ones. There were several special parts of the skeleton. One could tell that it belonged to the Guam race. Another noise came out. Then, the cyan tail swept over again. They couldn't tell where the tail came from. Only a section of the tail could be seen, but nothing could be seen on the other side of the tail. "Young Master Lu, please hold on for a bit," Gu Su shouted. She and Ing Wushuang looked at each other. The two powerful warriors dashed toward the stone box, one on the left and the other on the right. The two family patriarchs had said that they could either die here or would take the stone box back. Therefore, they were fighting with all their might. "Let's go." At the same time, Lady Yuan and young Master Lu dashed toward the skeleton. Their mission was to get the skeleton, and nothing else mattered to them. As long as they could put away the skeleton, they could leave at once. Boom! Once again, the Tribulation Thunder Beast was smashed away. It smashed away another unlucky warrior of the Shadow race behind it. This time, the Tribulation Thunder Beast breathed out white mist, which worsened the wound on the tail. Luli was hiding near the teleportation portal. He could sense the Tribulation Thunder Beast's wound. He was panicking. He shouted, "Guys, hurry up. The Tribulation Thunder Beast can stand 2 more attacks at best. The third one will kill it." Whoosh, whoosh. The 4 powerful warriors of the Shadow race and the Fairy race showed a glint of ruthlessness in their eyes. They dashed toward where the tail came from. Clearly, they were trying to buy time for Gu Su and Ing Wuxuang by spreading out. Boom, 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 boom. As they expected, the tail swept toward the warriors. Every time it hit, the warrior would be reduced to a mist of blood. The 4 warriors that tried to get close to the mist were all smashed to death. "Attack!" Yu Yang shouted. He launched an attack at the tail. The attack was not meant to kill, but to trap the tail and buy time. Right at that moment, Gu Su and Ing Wuxuang were close to the stone box. They grabbed the stone box with both hands and tried to lift it up. However, the stone box glowed in golden light and remained motionless. Buzzing, a bead appeared in Gu Su's hand. The bead emitted a mist that looked like an inverted incense. The mist flowed down and covered the golden light of the stone box. Okay, Lady Yuan and young Master Lu had put away the skeleton. They retreated quickly. They were lucky. Since the skeleton was in a corner, the tail didn't attack them. Boom! Once again, the Tribulation Thunder Beast dashed forward and was smashed back. It was covered in blood. Many of its bones were broken. Its chi and energy were weakened as well. "It's done." Gu Su's pleasantly surprised voice sounded. The stone box disappeared, and she put it away. However, before she could smile, a huge tail appeared out of thin air and swept toward her and Ing Wuxuang. "Gu Su, let's go." Ing Wuxuang shouted in sorrow. A long sword appeared in his hand. He took the initiative to smash at the tail with shocking power. Tears gushed out from Gu Su's eyes when she saw this. Ing Wuxuang had pursued her for many years, but she never said yes. Now, Ing Wuxuang was going to die to protect her. This touched the softest part of her heart. "Let's go." She didn't hesitate. She had the stone box. If she didn't leave now, she would die here the next second. She had to fly over with tears in her eyes. "Retreat," Luli shouted. He asked all the warriors to teleport out at once. He had to stay here with the Tribulation Thunder Beast to cover their retreat. Otherwise, more warriors would die here. Third Master. Chapter 3170. As a matter of fact, there was a teleportation altar on the last floor. The teleportation altar on this floor might be the exit, but under the circumstances, nobody dared to go in rashly. It was better to come out from the entrance. Buzzing, 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 one warrior after another rushed out. All of them had lingering fear on their faces. As soon as they came out, they flew away from the mountain as if they were afraid that the beast would follow them out. Luli was the last one to come out. He took the Thunder Beast with him. Half of the Thunder Beast's body was covered in blood, and many bones were broken. It was not hard to tell how horrifying the beast on the last floor was. Even though Gu Su had gotten the treasure, she didn't show much joy. She didn't like Ing Wuxuang that much. That being said, when Ing Wuxuang sacrificed his life for her, she still felt sad. Lady Yuan and young Master Lu, on the other hand, were delighted. They had completed their mission. They would be praised and rewarded when they got back to their races, which would prove their worth. Yu Yang was saddened. Of the 50 powerful warriors from the God of Death, only less than 20 were left. They had suffered heavy casualties. This mission was a loss. That being said, the God of Death usually wouldn't care about losses. He would only care about the completion rate. Now that the mission was completed, he could answer to the God of Death. Luli looked at the Thunder Beast with concern. The Thunder Beast was so badly injured. If it were to take another hit, it would die. Luli took out many elixirs and fed them to the Thunder Beast. The Thunder Beast had good self-recovery ability. It recovered quickly after taking the elixirs. The powerful warriors waited for 5 days. None of the other warriors were injured. They had waited for so long mainly because Luli wanted the Thunder Beast to recover. They couldn't leave until Luli left. 5 days later, all the warriors came back. The Thunder Beast led the way. None of the ancient beasts dared to come close. Lady Yuan stopped the moths, and Luli led them out of the maze and the poisonous fog. Luli had stayed longer in the poisonous fog. The poisonous fog had become thicker again. Luli had absorbed all the poisonous fog. Previously, after absorbing the poisonous fog, the spell realm had condensed a few hundred drops of highly toxic liquid. This time, it would probably be able to condense another few hundred drops. The path after that was much simpler. The group of experts easily walked out of the great desolate valley. The experts smelled the fresh air outside and saw the elders of the Elf clan, the Shadow clan, and the Grim Reaper clan. All of them felt as if they had seen the light of day again, as if they had taken a trip to hell. There were dozens of elders from the Elf clan and Shadow clan waiting here. When they looked at Gusu and received Gusu's confirmation, they all revealed joyful expressions. More than a dozen battleships flew towards the Taiwan city in a formidable array. Luli stood behind Yu Yang in a low-key manner. He had put the Tribulation Thunder Beast back into the Holy Mountain. Guan Yang and the others were shocked when the Thunder Tongue Beast entered the sacred mountain. Even Miss Li, who was at the bottom of the heavenly lake, turned pale with fright. The Thunder Devastator Beast's blood chi was so terrifying that it gave them a feeling that they were no match for it. Yu Yang and the Grim Reaper, Elder Luo, entered a cabin. When Elder Luo saw that so many warriors had died, his face sank. He asked about the situation inside in detail. Elder Luo was in a better mood after he learned that Lu Li was so powerful and had the intention to join the Grim Reaper. Elder Luo went to Lu Li's cabin in person with a very good attitude. First of all, he expressed his gratitude for Lu Li's help and said that he would report to the headquarters of the Grim Reaper when they got back to the Tianhua city and claim the credit. Elder Luo also welcomed Lu Li to join the Grim Reaper. Even though he didn't promise Lu Li the treatment of the trump card of the Grim Reaper, he made it clear that the Grim Reaper attached great importance to Lu Li. Lu Li's abilities and strange skills aside, with the Tribulation Thunder Beast, Lu Li's abilities could be compared to a warrior that was close to the consummate realm. Lu Li was more powerful than Elder Luo. How could Elder Luo not be nice? Soon, the battleships arrived at the Taiwan city. The elders of the Elf clan and the Shadow clan had learned about the battle from Gusu. As soon as Lu Li came out, many elders went to greet him with a change of attitude. Even though the two races had suffered a great loss, they had gotten the treasure. Therefore, the two races were in a good mood. For this treasure, it was worth it even if all the elders had to die, let alone some disciples. A grand celebration feast began. Lu Li became the center of attention. Not even Lady Yuan could compete with him. After all, if it weren't for Lu Li, not only would the Shadow clan and the Elf clan be wiped out, they wouldn't be able to get their hands on the treasure. Lady Yuan was already unhappy with Lu Li for being ignored. She was ready to leave after seeing what was happening. Lu Li, however, threw her a glance and said, "Wait, Lady Yuan." Lady Yuan glared at him and said, "What can I do for you, young Master Lu?" Lu Li said with a smile, "When are you going to pay me the 20 billion celestial stones you owe me?" Lady Yuan snorted and said, "Do you think I will give you less? I'll get my clansmen to send it over to you when I get back. Why are you rushing me every day? How poor are you? Do you think I will go back on my word?" "Ha ha ha." Lu Li laughed and said, "I don't have a choice. I am that poor. I am not afraid that you will go back on your word. I have the seal stone." Chapter 3171. Ace of Death. Ace of Death was the highest level of assassins. If the Ace of Death could not handle a task, then the 9 warriors would have to do it themselves. There were many patriarchs in the Grim Reaper, but they were not the Ace of Death. Therefore, Ace of Death were not lower in status than the patriarchs. Of course, there were 10 patriarchs of law enforcement. They were powerful and could command most of the Grim Reaper. Ha ha ha. Luli had just joined the Grim Reaper. Not long after he finished all the procedures and entered the manor assigned to him, he heard laughter coming from outside. Then 3 people walked in. Luli turned around and saw it was Emperor Yin, Patriarch Raccoon, and Yu Yang. Luli walked over and bowed to Emperor Yin. Then he cupped his fist to Yu Yang. Yu Yang had told Luli that Emperor Yin was not only the Ace of Death, but also one of the 10 patriarchs of law enforcement. Emperor Yin was not only powerful, but also powerful in the Grim Reaper. Kid, not bad. Emperor Yin patted Lu Li's shoulder and said, I knew you were something. You really are a genius. It was the right decision for me to send you to the Great Wilderness Valley. Welcome to the Grim Reaper. From now on, we are family. Lu Li replied with humility. Emperor Yin asked about his accommodations and if he knew about the rules and benefits of the Grim Reaper. Yu Yang had been helping Lu Li with the procedures yesterday and today. Lu Li said with a smile, Brother Yu Yang, you have taken care of all these for me. I am satisfied in all aspects. I am glad you are. Emperor Yin waved his hand and said, If you need any help, you can come to me directly. I usually stay at the Reaper Castle. If you cannot find me, go to Old Raccoon. Lu Li bowed after a moment of hesitation. Speaking of starting up, I do have something I need your help with. Of course, if there are rules in the Grim Reaper, I can give you a task. Emperor Yin didn't agree right away. Instead, he asked, What is it? Tell me. Lord, I am from a small universe. Lu Li said, For some reason, I cannot leave the chaotic universe. My universe was attacked by a small race. I don't know how my people are doing. Therefore, I want to ask the Saint Emperor of Death to go and have a look. If possible, can you help me relocate my people? Lu Li told him what he was worried about, as well as the situation in the demonic abyss. He also described the strength of divine ancestor Yuan and the others. Finally, he looked at Emperor Yin and said, If this matter is troublesome, I can use Celestial Stone to issue a mission. Ha ha ha! Emperor Yin and Elder Luo exchanged a glance and laughed. Emperor Yin waved his hand and said, Little Lu, you might not know how valuable an Ace Death God is in our internal department. We have millions of normal Grim Reapers, but only 100 Ace Grim Reapers. Many of them are famous in the chaotic starfields. So, do you understand? Lu Li blinked, still confused. Yu Yang explained, There are many missions in the Grim Reaper that the average Grim Reapers cannot accept. Usually, the Ace Grim Reaper will lead the team, and the other Grim Reapers will follow. Whoever goes will be chosen by the Ace Grim Reaper. When the Grim Reaper takes care of the Grim Reaper, the death rate of the average Grim Reapers will be reduced. So, as long as you say the word, many Grim Reapers will do it for you. This time, Lu Li understood. There were millions of Grim Reapers, but only 100 Ace Grim Reapers. In other words, Ace Grim Reapers enjoyed a high status. Many low-level Grim Reapers wanted to curry favor with them. When the Ace Grim Reapers said the word, countless Grim Reapers would rush to the front lines. As a matter of fact, the Ace Grim Reapers were all super powerful warriors. They had been adults for many years and were famous. Most of them were at the level of old demons. The low-level Grim Reapers didn't even have the chance to do anything for them. After all, those old demons would not owe favors easily. Only someone like Lu Li, who became an Ace Grim Reaper by accident, didn't understand the value of being an Ace Grim Reaper. Lu Li himself was weak as well, because it was difficult to get some Saint Kings to help him. He forgot that he had the Thunderclap Beast now. His comprehensive abilities were almost at the level of a Grim Reaper. Among the Ace Grim Reapers, there were more than 50 of them that were almost at the level of a Grim Reaper. Any one of them could wipe out an entire realm. This was the strength of the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper was not a force with strict rules. Rather, it was a loose organization. Many Ace Grim Reapers could only be commanded. They could take on missions if they wanted and couldn't be forced to do anything. Unless the Grim Reaper's life was at stake, these Ace Grim Reapers wouldn't come out. The Grim Reapers only needed to take on a mission every 10 years. For those super powerful warriors, they could pass on a message saying that they were going to cultivate for a few hundred years or something. In that case, they wouldn't even need to take on a mission every 10 years. Many Ace Grim Reapers hid their identities. Outsiders didn't know that they were assassins of the Grim Reaper. Some of them were founding fathers of major families, and some were family masters. All of this was normal. It was because of the loose structure of the Grim Reaper that so many powerful warriors and old demons were attracted to join the Grim Reaper. That was why the Grim Reaper was so famous. For the Grim Reaper, a small matter like Lu Li's was nothing. Emperor Yin didn't even have to do anything. Lu Li could just send out the word. Yu Yang, help him with this matter. Emperor Yin instructed and then warned. Brat Lu, you have many strange techniques, but your realm should still be at the Emperor tier, right? Lu Li nodded. Emperor Yin said, you have the Thunderclap Beast, and you could defeat many Saint Kings with this ancient beast. But after all, this is an external object, not the way of the king. The Grim Reaper has many resources, and you have a good starting point. I hope you can focus on cultivation and truly improve your abilities. Yu Yang was shocked. He had thought that Lu Li was a Saint King in hiding. Little did he know that Lu Li was only at the Emperor realm. Lu Li was already so powerful at the Emperor realm. When he reached the Saint King realm, wouldn't he be invincible below the consummate realm? Lu Li bowed gratefully and said, thank you, Lord. I will remember this. Ha ha ha. Emperor Yin patted Lu Li's shoulder again and left. Patriarch Luo said something and left as well, leaving only Yu Yang here. Brother Yu. Lu Li and Yu Yang were familiar, and they liked each other. Lu Li had saved Yu Yang's life at the Great Desolation Valley. Therefore, there was no need to be so polite. Lu Li said, I will leave the matter we talked about to you. Can you arrange it for me as soon as possible? Don't worry. Yu Yang patted his chest and said, I will arrange it for you tomorrow. You are asking Emperor Yin for such a small matter? You should have told me earlier. Okay, let's not talk about this now. Come, let's go. I will take you to a banquet to celebrate. By the way, I will introduce you to the young elites of the Grim Reaper. The 2 golden flowers of the Grim Reaper are both here. This is a once-in-a-blue-moon opportunity. P.S. I forgot to update. Chapter 3172. The Grim Reaper was founded by 3 powerful warriors. Later on, they recruited many powerful warriors. Some warriors died in battles or died of old age. Later on, the Grim Reaper had 9 powerful warriors, which were passed down from generation to generation. The 9 powerful warriors were the masters of the Grim Reaper. Naturally, the descendants of the 9 powerful warriors were the super young masters and young ladies of the Grim Reaper. The 9 powerful warriors had many descendants. They all had top-level resources and were trained by the Grim Reaper from a young age. Therefore, there were many elite disciples, and Yu Yang was one of them. After Lu Li entered a hall, he sensed the Grim Reaper's strength. There were nearly 30 young masters and young ladies in the hall. They were all very young, ranging from hundreds to 5,000 years old. However, their realms were very high. There were 28 of them, 17 of them were Saint Kings, and 11 were at the Emperor realm. They were all about 1,000 years old. There was one at the peak of the Emperor realm. Lu Li sensed that he was only 400 or 500 years old. At the Emperor realm, it was easy for a warrior to live for 100,000 years. Therefore, warriors under 5,000 years old could be considered young. All the young elites of the Grim Reaper were here. They were so powerful that Lu Li was amazed. There were 28 of them, but only 9 races. One of them was a human race, and there were 4 of them. There was a beautiful young lady among them. Her realm was almost the same as Yu Yang's. She was elegant and beautiful. She must be one of the 2 golden flowers that Yu Yang had mentioned. Mo Qianqian, one of the 9 powerful warriors of the Grim Reaper and the descendant of Emperor Mo. The Mo family should be the most powerful human family in the Chaotic Star region. Back in the day, the Mo family was famous in the 4th heaven. However, after they joined the Grim Reaper, they kept a low profile for tens of thousands of years. Many warriors in the Chaotic Star region didn't even know about the Mo family. As an assassin, Keeping a low profile was the best way to survive. The MO family was one of the major families in the Grim Reaper. They had carried out many missions for the Grim Reaper and killed many powerful warriors. If they were too high profile, the MO family would have been wiped out a long time ago. Not only the MO family, but the other 8 powerful warriors of the Grim Reaper also kept a low profile. Many warriors in the Chaotic Star region knew that there were 9 powerful warriors in the Grim Reaper. However, they didn't know the specific situation of the 9 powerful warriors or where their clans were located. The Chaotic Star region was a chaotic place. To survive, one must have powerful combat abilities and be low profile. This is our new trump card, the Grim Reaper. Yu Yang, are you sure you're not mistaken? After Yu Yang introduced the elites present, a young master with a sinister expression said in a cold and distant voice. He was not the only one. Many elites present were also surprised because Lu Li was only at the Emperor realm, let alone ace death gods. Even the majority of gold-ranked death gods were Saint Emperors. Someone like Yu Yang was also a gold-ranked death god. There were so many young masters and young mistresses here, but there was only one person who was given the title of Ace Grim Reaper, and that was Mo Qianqian. Ace Grim Reapers were too difficult to obtain. Death God's missions were divided into different levels. Normal mission, difficult mission, dangerous mission, fatal mission, and the strongest hell mission. Missions that ordinary Saint Kings could easily complete were dangerous missions. It was impossible for suicide missions to be easily completed. Many Saint Kings had even died on suicide missions. If he wanted to become an ace death god from a gold death god, he would have to complete 10 fatal missions on his own without making any mistakes. Many gold-ranked death gods wanted to become ace death god, but they often encountered problems after completing a few fatal missions. Once something went wrong, they would have to start all over again. That was why ace death gods were so rare and so respected. There was actually a shortcut to become an ace death god, which was to reach a combat ability that was infinitely close to the perfect realm. Lu Li was not an assassin of death before. Suddenly, he was given the title of Ace Death God. In the eyes of all the young masters and young mistresses, Lu Li must be infinitely close to the perfect realm. Otherwise, how could he be given the title of Ace Death God? But now, no matter how they looked at it, Lu Li was at the Emperor realm. The Grim Reaper kept every assassin's information confidential. Therefore, no assassin knew about Lu Li beforehand. Even though everyone present was a distinguished young master and young lady, and they were all descendants of influential figures, they had no right to know anything about Lu Li. Everyone, Yu Yang said with a smile, "You can question me, but please do not question the decision of the Council of Patriarchs. The badge on Brother Lu's chest cannot be faked. As for why, I cannot tell you. We all know the rules." Lu Li was wearing a badge on his chest. It was a black badge with a death god pattern. This was the symbol of an ace death god. Even low-level death gods would have to salute him. The group of influential figures glanced over. After making sure that there was nothing wrong with the badge, they began to whisper and discuss. They were all excellent assassins, not like Lady Li, who was just a pretty face. Every warrior had gone through rigorous training since they were young. All the elites had gone through mountains of knives and seas of fire. The badges on their chests also indicated that most of them were gold-ranked death gods like Yu Yang. They didn't get this title through connections, but through missions. Therefore, they all had strong senses and their judgment was sharp and accurate. They could clearly tell that Lu Li was young and that he was at the Emperor realm. If one warrior felt wrong, then it would be understandable. However, all the warriors felt that Lu Li was at the Emperor realm. They couldn't figure it out. All the elites present were confused. The system of death gods was very strict. The title of Ace Death God could not be given out randomly. It was not even possible to bribe several patriarchs of law enforcement because it required the approval of a powerful figure. The system of death gods was made by the 9 powerful figures. They couldn't let Lu Li go through the back door, which would cause chaos within the death gods. Lu Li listened to the discussions around him. All the elites were surprised. Some of them even had the desire to fight. It seemed that they wanted to test Lu Li's strength. Uh-huh. Lu Li laughed and said, "You don't have to guess. I am indeed at the Emperor realm, and I didn't get the title through the back door. As for why I can be the Ace Death God, it is because I am qualified. If any of you can go to Lady Yuan and extort 20 billion, and she has to deliver it to you obediently and not retaliate, then you are qualified." What? Everyone was in an uproar. Naturally, they had heard of Lady Yuan. She was the #1 young lady of the Chaotic Star region, and she was more powerful than Yu Yang. Extort 20 billion from her? Wouldn't that be courting death? Yu Yang nodded and said, "I can testify that Lady Yuan does owe Brother Lu 20 billion. Also, she was scared to the ground by Brother Lu. All the death gods on this mission saw it with their own eyes. Ha, ha, ha." Lu Li didn't want to reveal his trump card, but he also didn't want the younger generation of the death gods to look down on him. Otherwise, he would have a hard time in the death gods in the future. If he didn't want anyone to cause him trouble, then he had to show his strength. Therefore, he brought up Lady Yuan. It wouldn't matter if Lady Yuan heard about it. They hated each other so much that they didn't care. A cold snort came from a beautiful but cold lady in golden armor who was sitting at the head of the table. She suddenly said, "No matter how good your words are, it doesn't matter. Whether you can do it or not, we will know after a fight. If you can't even beat me, then what makes you the Ace Death God?" Third Master, you're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.